Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
I'm not flipping you off. That's just how I do my glasses. That's what the trolls always say. If I go like this with my glasses, I'm flipping somebody off. You know? Yeah, but I'm not. That's just how I do it. I don't know why I do it that way. All right. Yeah, today was just like a ridiculous day in the the case. The first they had Sarah Carbaugh on, and then I think after that was the autopsy and medical examiner explanation, and then some cell phone data stuff. But the first two portions kind of, I mean, people probably aren't even paying attention to the cell phone crap, after all that. And so I have the pool notes, but you know what happened with the pool notes? They gave the first 8 pages were just these nice notes, easily legible, and then the person who made the notes got lazy and took like these, I don't know, like the same notes but put 4 on a page, and it got so blurry you can't even read the damn things. So I got some notes from Frank Meister, and then again I listened to Lauren on Hidden True Crime. I don't know. I think if she was the one taking notes for the public, the coverage of this case would be ludicrously better. I mean, it is like, her notes are almost as if a court reporter was in there reading back what the, it's crazy. I mean, obviously you can't get every word in there, but that's the way it is. And it kind of sucks. Earlier I made a video, and it was doing really well. People were watching it, and then it just goes, boom. It's the animation on the bridge. You see it on the screen right there. Well, you can't see it on that screen, but if I switch over to this one right here, this is what I put out there. And people were watching it, but then as soon as people start going live, it just gets dumped into the ash heap of history. It's bizarre. It was getting like 2,600 views an hour, and then 500. And it should be a video that 80,000 people watch, because if you watch this, you'll know exactly the timing and how things were going on the bridge. All right. Unfortunately, people don't watch it. It's just sort of like, And look, nobody's even here. I mean, it's just, it's one of those nights again, I guess. Maybe it'll be a short day. Who knows? 135 people. Yay! All right. Let's see. Yeah, and also on Hidden True Crime, she had like somebody, a sketch artist that was in there that took, drew stuff. So, I did a couple screenshots of those. I don't know if I need to show them on the screen, but I could just say what it was. Yeah, but I did a different one, Mia. I put it all together on one video where people are crossing the, it shows the whole length across the bridge. So after you see that, you won't be confused or anything. It's like you'll absolutely know exactly what was happening. And nobody's here right now. Why do you think that is? Why is that? Did I use up all my notifications on the video? And then I also did the... Yeah, that might be what it is. I did a show last night going into today, and then also... yeah, and then I put out the video, and then there's this one. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I should be at the trial, but I can't. I already explained it, Janice, 100 freaking times. I don't know where you've been. I've literally explained it 16,000 times now. My mother is sort of early on stage. She doesn't remember stuff. My dad's out of town, so my wife is over there, and I have to be here for the dogs and everything else. Okay. Then also, and Blue is on his last legs here, so I'm here. Okay. I'm sorry if that offends you. I've explained it 17,000 times now. I'm not going to do it 17,001. Yeah, well, I posted on Twitter. I don't know why people on YouTube aren't being notified. Yeah. I wish I could be there. I feel like I'm supposed to be there. It's just one of those things in life where it didn't work out. I had my room and everything for the last time the trial was supposed to be a few months back, or months ago. Had everything planned out, ready to go, and it got canceled. I had all intentions of going to this one. It just didn't work out. Okay? But I can tell you, if I was there and I was allowed to go to the trial every day, my coverage would be the best that there is out there, because not only do I know everything about like the geographical location of everything, I would know what the information meant when I was listening to it. Okay? That's just all I can tell you. So I'm trying my best with the limited information that I'm getting. I'm telling you that Lauren should do the notes every single day for the pool, and everybody should pay her to sit there to take the notes. Okay, it isn't even close. I'm just telling you, it isn't even close. And I actually emailed her and I said that I apologize to her for being critical, because the thing is I think she actually she cares. You can tell she cares about the case, even though she doesn't have the long-term knowledge and things like that. All we can really ask for is that, that somebody cares, and when they do start working on it, they work as hard as they can. And, I can't say she's not doing that. It's just it's one of those things that, it's my own personal issue. Like, I'm struggling because I've been doing it for so long, and I know what everything means. And and when I do shows, I get 400 people watching, and then there's 8,000 people watching over there because she has the information, but I'm able to synthesize the information. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. I don't know. I feel like if I was in the same position, the knowledge of the people out there would be much more people that could see why Richard Allen is the guy. Okay, I'm not confused or sort of ambiguous at all. It's really obvious that Richard Allen is the killer. I didn't criticize Janice. What the hell are you talking about? I didn't criticize. She told me in the email that she doesn't know the case very well. She's learning it, and I'm okay with that now. I just, I emailed her. I said, I think it'd be cool if her and I did a show, and I was able to do the mapping part and show different images that her audience, who probably came from a completely different place, has they weren't really following the Delphi case. They would probably learn, like, oh my God, that's crazy. Because you guys see it every single night when we're doing this, right? When I'm doing this show, I put stuff out there, and people that are here, they're like, whoa, that's crazy, And it's like, that's because it's all been known for a long time. Hey, thanks, Little Puppy Paws. Yeah, so, hey, Janice Vetter, if you want to be a troll, you can go somewhere else, okay? If you make one more comment like that, you'll never be allowed back in here again. All right? Because you know exactly what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, the thing is you never know with the jury and how the defense will be able to sell a story. Because that's where it comes down to. Yeah, that's right, Zozo. Crazy people out there. But it's frustrating for me to see people that haven't been covering it for a long time get huge crowds. And, I mean, I had decent ones, 600-700 people. That's okay for me. I think one night it was like 800 something. But it's just, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right. So let's see. I think I'm going to start off with Frank Meister's notes that he sent me. All right. Let's just see. I'm going to just see what he wrote here, okay? He says, first, well, that says Baldwin cross-examination. Why would it say that? Which one? Oh, I think they're out of order. That's why. Okay, here it is. Trial day 4, Sarah Carbaugh. All right. So here we go. Day off of work. So she had the day off of work and was driving eastbound. Okay, so here we go. Let's just get the map out. Here's 300. This is where I always had Richard Allen right here. Right in this spot. And that's where she was. And I think that's almost exactly correct. Apparently it's like, so let's see what it says. Day off of work. She was driving eastbound on 300 around 4. So it's actually 357. I have it in here right there. 357. And that is, I could actually just change the name. This was before we even had their names when I made these things. So I could put, even though we've known it's Sarah Carbaugh for a long time, 3 p.m. with, and it's Sarah Carbaugh heading east. All right. So she drives by the Hoosier Harvest store right there. See that? Hey, that's right. Let's go for a wave. Because they haven't been covering the case, Janice. That's why. You kind of know the answer. I've been covering it for almost 8 years, every single day. I mean, not every day, but since the beginning, the first night they were missing. And so it sort of sucks when, it's just sort of like your algorithm doesn't pick up in YouTube. That's why it sucks, Janice. And I'm going to have to actually remove you from the channel now. So, take care. I already told you I was going to do it if you made one more comment. Alright, so here we go. We've got the, this is the Hoosier Harvest store right here. The vehicle is driving by eastbound. Alright. And then it says, a group of people were gathered. Isn't that crazy, you guys? A group of people were gathered at the Mears lot. So, right here, there was a group of people, not there, right here, right in this spot, and this is the parking lot. So there was a group of people parked there. And what that means is that is like Kelsey, maybe, Becky, they're all coming around, and this sucker is, well, I told you guys, haven't I told you guys? Isn't it weird? Because Derek was back by his car at around 4, and the bridge guy is walking right over here. And look at this. Information that came out today is almost absolutely confirming that. It's crazy. So it says there was a group of people gathered at the Mears lot. And then she drove by Mears lot and saw a man walking westbound on 300 towards town. Okay, which I'm saying towards the CPS building. Anyways, he's walking this direction. And he's on the north side of the road over here. Right, going this direction. So she's on the right side. So I doubt he's 3 feet away. He's probably like, I mean, if you're driving this way, you're on the driver's side. So whatever the width of a road is, and then he's on the other side. So, 7 or 8 feet. Hey, thank you. We say howdy here. Amber Maiden. Primal Curiosities, 8675309, and Little Puppy Paws. Yes, and on this channel, if you guys want to help support this channel that allows me to keep doing these shows, I would appreciate it. Maybe get some memberships, put your questions in a super chat, and then when I have time, I'll go over your questions. Okay, how about that? She saw a group of people gather at the Mears lot, saw a man walking westbound on 300 towards town. I mean, I guess I could just put the notes on the screen. He was covered in mud and blood. He slowed down. She slowed down to see if she recognized him, and she did not. She seen a picture of news and said that's the man. She saw the guy on the news after they put out the bridge guy, and she said, that's the man I saw covered in mud and blood. His legs were covered in blood. So it's like the lower part of his legs had blood on them. That kind of makes sense. Libby's on the ground, let's say, and he's standing over her and hits the arteries and the blood shoots out on his legs. Something like that. Hey, look at TC. Just got the membership from Primal Curiosities. She contacted law enforcement. Law enforcement returned her call 3 weeks to a month later. Wow, that took them a while. Sarah's car was captured on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera at 3:56 p.m. Pretty sure it says 3:57 in the document. Alright, so let's see if we can make sure we get the next. Is the next page the right one? No. I guess these aren't going to be in order. Ah, shit. Maybe I'll have I'll make a folder where I say done, and then I'll put those in there. Can't I just get lucky? Just one time. Okay, then I guess... Okay, that's a cross-examination. Let me just see if that sounds like it's still related, though. Okay, that's Baldwin. Okay, that's different later. Okay, this is autopsy stuff. Hold on. Yeah, it's also autopsy. Let's see. Okay, so this is Baldwin cross-examined her, I guess. And he said, in the interview, Baldwin said blood was never mentioned. The second interview, he supposedly said mud 13 times, and she replied, she said blood also. But you know what? Blood and mud, they sort of sound the same. There's the sound, right? So if you went, it could have been that she was saying, yeah, there was mud and blood, and and it was just like mud. I don't know. To me, they sound similar, but she's adamant that she said blood. And here's something that people should keep in mind, everybody. She changed it to, let's say, there's no record of her saying blood early on, but in 2019, she changed it to blood. But what does that have to do with anything regarding Richard Allen? Okay, that she changed it because that's what she was saying. She's saying there wasn't any suspect at that time. There was nobody. So what advantage, like when you're saying, oh, they invented it to make it look like, well, who? There's no gain on the prosecution or Sarah Carbaugh's part to, in 2019, introduce the word muddy and bloody. Okay, there wasn't somebody, okay, we need to make you say bloody because we got an arrest coming here. There was nothing. Okay, Keegan Kline wasn't even introduced till 2020. You see? Thank you, Georgina Stoliker and Michelle H. And then SC read, let's see. So Sarah Carbaugh read the second interview silently in court, no mention of blood. Third interview, Baldwin said she never said mud. Sarah Carbaugh believes she said mud and blood. March 2019 interview. Reading the transcript, Baldwin said, third interview, Sarah Carbaugh said blood 16 times. Okay, but isn't that crazy? March of 2019. There wasn't even anybody on a radar at that point. You know, that's around the time of the second sketch. Baldwin said third interview. Sarah Carbaugh said blood 16 times. Baldwin said Sarah Carbaugh in 2017, 2019 to blood. So, you know, from 2017 then she had blood put in there in 2019. That's what he's saying. Alright, I'm going to put that in there and let's see what this one says. Hope the Baldwin asked Sarah Carbaugh if she stopped to ask the man. So that other one could be after this. I don't know, but at least we have the stuff that he had. Baldwin asked Sarah Carbaugh if she stopped to ask man if he was all right. She said no because I'm a woman. And I guess she was probably only like, 28 at the time. I was always thinking Sarah Carbaugh was some older lady. But she's 35 now. So maybe even 27. Said no because I'm a woman, referencing to she didn't know what the circumstances was. So she didn't know why he was muddy and bloody and didn't want to say, hey, can I help you? She told interview, don't she her, let's see. She told the interviewer, don't show her the picture. She didn't want to remember. It says don't she her that, but I'm just contextually, I think he's saying, don't show her the picture. She didn't want to remember from what Baldwin said. She said bridge guy photo is also is all over town. Baldwin tried to implicate Sarah Carbaugh, said that bridge guy's eyes were feminine looking. Sarah Carbaugh denied. Apparently she might have said that he had feminine looking eyes. There's a lot of this detail that people put in there that's just like, did you have to put that detail in there? Sarah Carbaugh said she saw bridge guy for about 30 seconds. Baldwin asked Sarah Carbaugh if she recognized anything about him. Sarah Carbaugh said she wasn't looking for freckles, eyes, eye color, etc. Baldwin claimed she didn't have her cell phone. Sarah Carbaugh denied. Sarah Carbaugh said she always had her phone. It would ping all over town. But hey guys, let's get a little bit better start tonight. We're really struggling again. It'd be great if you guys could support the channel out of the gate. My video was doing well and it just died suddenly once everybody started doing the evening shows, and I don't know if it'll pick up again. But if you guys could please help support the channel tonight so we can reach our goals, I would appreciate it. Let's see, then Diener cross-examination, maybe that's redirect. Isn't Diener the prosecution? Asked if Sarah Carbaugh saw a hat, and she said yes, but it wasn't a baseball hat. Sarah Carbaugh said the hat had a short bill on it. So I don't know what that means, like something real short that kind of came down over his ears. And that might be just her remembering sort of that what the bridge guy image looks like. See, nobody really knew, man. There was like golf hats, you know, hoodie over a baseball hat, etc. Came down over his ears, said the individual was walking with his hands in his pockets, and he was hunched over, looking down to avoid eye contact. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, right? That's kind of what he looks like at the end of the bridge. He has his hands in his pocket, he's hunched over, looking down to avoid eye contact. And he was kind of had his chin, because I guess, well, when I was watching Hidden True Crime, she had, she kind of imitated the person and put the chin down kind of inside the collar. So anyways, Diener stated that the second interview portion of this statement was missing. No, they haven't. They've never said that Richard Allen walked by the Hoosier Hardware store or bridge guy. So here's what I think happened, and we've talked about this a long time ago. See, he's on this side of the road, and here's what's going on. He's walking over here, and there's a crowd of people right here. Well, where do you think he goes? I think he went like this. Around, probably even around over here, and comes across, and he makes it back over to his vehicle. He avoided passing, and that would make sure that he didn't pass there. He probably didn't even think about this. And if there was no crowd here, he may have walked down. But when you see a crowd of people here, I mean, Derek is one of those people. And I think he's walking this way, and Sarah Carbaugh had just seen those people. Man, come on, you guys. This isn't going to be one of those nights again, is it? Even after I say, hey, guys, if you can help support the channel, it just went nothing. We're at $21 for the night so far. We got another, we're 10%, so we got to get moving. Yeah, so anyways, he's walking this direction, and, if he starts seeing people here, he probably cuts across, but, I mean, people might be able to see him do that if they're paying attention. I don't know. I don't know how he would do it. He may have got down really low and went over there. But there is a guy right here, and none of these people here saw that person. I just explained it, Renee. I mean, I literally went over the whole thing. I just went over it. Oh, man. Yeah, and we don't know if he's on the camera at all, but he's walking right here, and he sees a group of people standing right here at the parking area. He's not going to go past there muddy and bloody. So he likely went around here somehow and probably, hugged along here, and then maybe he came back around and went like that. Or hell, maybe he went through the woods over here, across the tracks, and then made it back to the abandoned CPS building right there. Diener stated that the second interview portion of this statement was missing. So I guess there was part of this interview that's missing. Why it's missing, I don't know. Thanks, Hammer Maiden. Appreciate it. Wish other people would, instead of the same people every night. Yeah, well, it's, there are other people that think like me. In this case, but we're just sort of drowned out by all the wackos that are out there. That's the problem. No, Zozo, it wouldn't mean that. Where are you guys getting this stuff? You guys have been watching this show for years, you guys. You guys know the layout, don't you? Come on. Here's the crime scene right here. And then he walks up through the cemetery and he heads down on 300, and then Sarah Carbaugh drives by, and then he just walks over here like this and around and probably makes it back over to the vehicle. Come on, you guys. Jesus, let's I feel like I'm going backwards sometimes, unless you're talking to somebody else. I don't know, but thanks, Rachel B. Yeah, I do. I think he went out the cemetery. I think he knew all about this stuff. He knew exactly where everything was, and he goes up there.
That's right.
And thank you. Support the channel. Great is the best. Well, there you go, Janet Drums. I remember you from a long time ago. I remember that. What do you mean, didn't they go back to the cemetery? What does that mean? All right, and then it says, interview in 2017 stated bottom of jeans were covered with blood. So she said that in June of 2017. Sarah Carbaugh stated the bottom of jeans were covered with blood. I mean, that's amazing. That's in June. That's only 4 months after. Also stated that the jacket was dark and couldn't tell if blood was on it, but definitely had a lot of mud on it. I don't know, Zozo. Come on, you know this better than anybody. Jesus. You've watched all of them. You've been here since the day, you know. Second interview, 13 times she said mud and blood. That's what Baldwin said. Then Baldwin asked Sarah Carbaugh how close to the bridge guy to recognize blood spatter. And then we move that into the finished folder. So we have less to dig through. Baldwin asked Sarah Carbaugh if she said 3 feet to 4 feet. So she said she was 3 feet to 4 feet. But if he's on the north side of 300 and she's on this side, I think it's probably more like whatever the width of a road is. What is it, like 7 or 8 feet? Maybe a couple feet. So probably less than 10 feet. That's what I would say. Baldwin asked Sarah Carbaugh if she was sure it was 3 feet to 4 feet, and Sarah Carbaugh replied by saying, "It's not like I was sticking a ruler out the window while driving to measure," in the testimony. And apparently she was very combative with Baldwin, because Baldwin just kept trying to trip her up, and she's just not. One time she said something like, "You're going to ask me that again? We're doing this again?" She said something like that. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? Yeah. All right, then we've got then Dr. Core, forensic pathologist. Abby Williams is 5'4", and I guess Libby was also 5'4". So the clothing worn was black sweatshirt, blue jeans, pink shirt, gray sports bra, and a black brassiere. So she had like two sort of bras on. It's just, the whole thing with Abby is just so interesting. I have to admit. It's just, I think Kelsey and Abby were both nude at the same time, and it almost feels like he killed Libby, and whether or not maybe it looked like she was going to struggle, so he killed her, and he stabbed her 5 times in the neck, or at least 5 times, it looked like, 4 or 5 wounds, and they're vertical wounds on her neck, like not sideways, or I'm talking vertical. And then even some of her wounds he went in again a second time. I mean, that's crazy, right? So he goes in for a second time in the wound. And so I kind of wonder if Abby's over there and she's just so frozen in shock, and I think it's possible that at some point he sort of felt bad for her, had some sort of feeling. That's why they did the shack moment, because they thought maybe they could appeal to him. And guess what? I mean, they were almost kind of right? Because when Richard Allen was in prison, he found God, and that's when he confessed. So it's almost, I think the FBI, I don't know. We don't know why Doug Carter brought that up, but you got to admit that's a little interesting. But then it seems like Abby dressed herself. Okay, Libby's tie-dye shirt, probably her underwear and her socks and so forth were in the water, and so was Abby's jeans and her gray sweatshirt that she has on in the bridge photograph. And so she's there, and then now and her socks were missing. So basically at one point, I think her underwear were off. Because right here it says she didn't have underwear on. Okay, so that means her underwear in the water, her gray hoodies in the water, Her skinny jeans are in the water, her socks, and we know that a sock and a pair of underwear were missing from the crime scene. Okay, so then at one point, Libby's pants and Libby's sweatshirt were still on dry land, perhaps wet from, crossing the creek or something, but it wasn't in the water. Or maybe all of the clothes were still on land at that point. And then Abby was allowed to dress herself, and she puts the sweatshirt on because she's cold, and then she puts the jeans on. She has the bra on. Maybe that never came off. So maybe the bras were left on. And then she puts the pants on, and then she puts her shoes on because you couldn't have put the shoes on first because it'd be very difficult to get those through the jeans, even though they're bigger jeans. And then it almost feels like, he'd already killed Libby, and Abby's sitting there, and he probably just at the last second just stabbed her in the neck and took off. That's what it feels like. And then Abby slowly, she was alive and cold, and that's why her hands are moved up by her, underneath her chin, grasping the end of her sweatshirt. And she's grabbing those, and then eventually she dies in that position. And I can't see any other reason why she'd be grabbing. You wouldn't pose somebody grabbing the ends of a sweatshirt with the hands clenched up by there. That means she was alive after being, after dressing herself, right? And if she's alive, she's the one that dressed herself. It wasn't him that dressed her. And so, really bizarre little situation there, wouldn't you say? Yeah, there's branches. So what? That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, he probably put them on there as she's, I guess what you're saying is, would he have, perhaps he thought she was dead or she died. I mean, I guess you could, if the phone stopped moving at 2:32, right? I guess that's something to think about, Sarah. Let me think about that for a minute. So at 2:32, the phone stopped moving, and then he's muddy and bloody at 3:57. But he'd have to leave the cemetery probably at like 3:45 to get out to that location. So like in an hour and 10 minutes. So maybe she was stabbed. I mean, at what point though did she get herself redressed again? So it might be that he stabbed her and he thought she was dead, and he sat around for a little bit putting the sticks and stuff on her. I mean, that part I'm just saying, I think she was the last one to die. And I think she was cold. I mean, what a freaking nightmare, you guys. Just think about it. Unreal. Just disgusting shit. And then they did vaginal cleanse, cervical swab, oral swab, no fingernail clippings. They were too short. No sexual activity was done. No blunt force trauma. Possible duct tape or something over her mouth. There was a couple marks on her mouth there. They didn't find any tape residue or anything like that. Partial transection of jugular 1 inch deep. So this person, you know what I think he did with Libby? I think he stabbed, punctured her neck and did those vertical lines, but she wasn't bleeding the way he thought. And then he was searching for her jugular on those other attempts in there. Isn't that just brutal? I mean, my God, what the hell's going on here? Yeah, we just don't know about her fighting back. They said there was no defensive wounds or anything. Yeah, she could have been gagged. They don't know, though. Liberty German is 5'4", 200 pounds. There was no sexual assault. But there's different types of assaults. You don't have to be. So it says no defensive wounds. 4 wounds There's 4 wounds, possibly 5 or 6 wounds, 9 centimeters in length. So they're long. I mean, 2.5 centimeters is an inch. So you're talking about, you know, almost 4 inches long, these knife wounds in her neck. And, you know, there's drawings out there. And it says no defensive wounds, no wounds, possibly 5 or 6 wounds, 9 centimeter in length. Superficial wound to shoulder, abrasion to leg, possibly by dragging. So superficial wound to right shoulder, abrasion to leg. This is Libby here. Possibly by dragging. That's right. And then 2 right neck. Okay, so there's 2 wounds to the right neck and 2 to the left neck. Partial transection, full transection of jugular. So that's, see what I'm saying? Those other attempts inside the wound were to, you know, actually sever that jugular. God, that makes me want to puke. Abby Williams dies within 7 to 10 minutes. See, that means she didn't die right away. That's what I'm saying. She's got her hands... Okay, so if it's 7 to 10 minutes, then I still think Libby was first, but he's still at the scene and she's dead. But you kind of wonder why he dressed her again. It could be that he wanted to dress both of them, but it would be virtually impossible to have dressed Libby again. You know, it'd be very difficult. So maybe when Abby was still alive, or he may have, you know, it's possible he had them nude and then he was going to have them both dress again, but you know, something happened. God, it's really hard to figure this one out, because I think he didn't redress any of them. Abby dressed herself. That's why her hands are tucked into her sweatshirt like that. I think it's obvious when you see that. Yeah. Right, but that's irrelevant, Laura, right? I mean, of course, that's obvious, right? Hey, everybody, with their throats cut, they wouldn't have been able to scream. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious. I don't think either one of them were screaming regardless. I don't think any of them screamed. I think when you have a gun on them, you know. One of them could have screamed while the other one was being struck in the neck, though, right? Because it's not like they were simultaneously struck in the neck, right? No, it didn't say that she had no blood on her. Abby Williams dies within 7 to 10 minutes. Libby German dies almost instantly. Libby had brain swelling. Huh. No exact time of death. Classic serrations. Yeah, so on one of the wounds, it looked like, you know, if you took like a steak knife and it kind of scraped along the edge, it looked like that. Yeah, I said that. I think Abby dressed herself. And I'll tell you why. I'll show you again on here. I'll put my... So, in the crime scene photo, I've seen them. You know, the ones that were released a while ago, I saw those. So, like, there's a sweatshirt, you know, and you know, like a sweatshirt, and you have them too long on your hands, and then you grab the end of them to stay warm. She was like this. Okay, nobody's posing somebody like that. That's how she was, and that's because she actually felt cold while dressed. You know, like while she had Libby's sweatshirt on, she felt cold. And that's crazy. That means, well, she was nude at one point, then redressed in Libby's pants. She put her own shoes back on. She put Libby's sweatshirt over the top of her pink shirt, and guess what, you guys? Here's another piece, is that Abby had like ground particle, you know, like the ground, from the ground, leaves and pieces of dirt and so forth were on her back. So that means it's likely, unless the pink shirt was just pushed up. We see that in crimes a lot, sexual crimes, where the shirt is moved up near the, under the chin area, And maybe that's how that worked. But for some reason, she was able to put back on her pink top that she has in the video. And, you know, like, not the video, you know, the image on the bridge. Let me just throw it out there. I'm going to get that shot again. That way we can just look at it. But hey guys, if you're out there and you can help support this channel with the super chat, send in questions, etc. We're frozen again in here. My channel relies on the generosity of the people watching on a nightly basis. When I do these live streams, there's no ad revenue on them. They might pop up, but by the time the night's over, it's been demonetized, and because it's the topic, they don't make it past. Alright, so I need your guys' help. Alright, here's the one right here. Thank you, Kathy Friedenmaker. Alright, see this picture right? You guys can't see it, but this picture right here. So at the crime scene, this shirt that she's got on, the gray sweatshirt, that was in the water. Her jeans, these skinny jeans, which would be impossible for somebody else to dress her, and also impossible to have the shoes on first. So that means that so those jeans were in the water, and so was that gray sweatshirt she has on. And then when she was redressed again, she did have Libby's jeans on, that same pink shirt right there, and then on the top of and then underneath there was a sports bra and a bra, and it looks like, I don't know, you can't really tell in that picture, but maybe she has it on underneath there. And then she has the Delphi sweatshirt on the top. Right, so the Delphi sweatshirt is on top of that pink top there. And then she has her shoes back on again. Yeah, she has a sports bra and a regular bra. Yeah, we don't know whose bras or what. But, you know, it's just kind of strange, right? I mean, she literally, I believe, dresses herself again because she's cold after putting the sweatshirt on. She has her hands curled up. Hey, thank you. What does it say? Tighten up. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. So classic serration wounds, possible multiple weapons, one serrated wound to Libby, arterial spray. So yeah, I mean, you know, that's probably how he got blood all over his pants, because it was down low like that. Arterial spray, possible 3 feet to 10 feet, maybe 20. Wow, that's wild. Man, geez, I just can't imagine. It's such a... It's brutal, you know. I mean, that's when I do true crime, I try to avoid that thinking about it, but it's hard now. Like, it's hard to avoid it. You know, I think about like how scared they were at the end of that bridge, and how the fear got worse and worse and worse, and then their worst nightmares that they were thinking about came true. But now you actually see what happened. You know, at least we're hearing about what happened to them, and it's just, you know, just imagine how horrendous that would have been. Thank you, Primal Curiosities. And by the way, you guys can put questions in your super chats, you know, I can read them. I think they both had blood on their hands, both of them. Did I just do this one? Yeah. Okay, just did that one. There's one more page here. Dr. Core stated it bugged him. It bugged him for months.
equals.
Yeah, somebody said the other day, like this lady wrote this comment in a Facebook page, the fact that I have a thank you sort of animation pop up on the screen when somebody sends in a super chat. They go, oh, that's just so disgusting. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. And just went off like a total nut job. You know, it's just wild, man. You know, thank you for sending in super chats. You know, I don't have to have that on the screen. And sometimes I don't have it on the screen. You know? It shouldn't make any difference. You just know that it's thanking somebody. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Libby's hands were covered with blood, but so were Abby's hands also, I think, had blood. Dr. Cora was at home, and he would sit around like he was obsessed with, man, how did these knife wounds happen? So Dr. Cora was at home comparing knives for serrations. Dr. Cora picked up a handle grip box cutter. And then Rosie asked Dr. Cora if he ever wrote a supplemental report. Dr. Cora said no, and then Rosie stated, you never mention a box cutter in your deposition. Dr. Cora said no. Rosie asked why no supplemental report. Cora stated because he was speculating it could have been a box cutter. All right, well, there you go. That's those are all the notes from Frank Meister. Now let's try the original notes from today. And I don't know how far I can go. The first notes are great, but let me show you what it looks like later. So see how these are nice and clear and clean? And then they said, oh, let's do it like this. And then you zoom in and, okay, now we're struggling. You know, autopsy, something, you know, something of organs, you know. It just gets crazy after a while. I mean, if you guys want to, you know, line by line, decipher what the hell's being said, I mean, that's great. And then it gets worse after that. So I don't know why they did that. They started off beautiful like this, where you can read them. I know, I would. That's what I was saying. I've been saying on my show that these people, the news channels, instead of taking up a seat with people taking crappy notes, what they should do is give it to a court reporter that knows shorthand and let them get every single word, or at least 99% of them, during the trial. I mean, it's like, and then afterwards, just, you know, get it, you know, employ like 3 or 4 people that can decipher it, and then type it up really quick, and boom, there you go. You know, that's how it should be done, but unfortunately, it's not like that. All right, Wednesday, October 23rd. So this is today. These are a different set of notes. Alan in light blue and pink plaid, button-down shirt and khaki pants, glasses, on head again. Alan's mom, sister, and wife is in his row. 3 empty seats in Alan's family row. Wow, that's great. Abby's mom here today. So it's Anna. Libby's mom, sister, grandparents. Here, 15 people in their family rows, 3 empty seats. At 9:04 a.m., Gold walks in. Then, let's see, McClellan. I guess there's exhibits 213, exhibits 18, 19, 20 from the Page testimony, then 213, 214, 219 published, given to jury from yesterday, copies made today. And 912, now let's see what they say about Sarah Carbaugh. Sarah Carbaugh, to me, is like really, you know, now that she's adamant, she becomes more important. But it doesn't, she's not like incredibly important to the case, really. You know, unless, okay, so here's the thing. We don't know. So when Richard Allen's vehicle, or excuse me everybody, the vehicle matching Richard Allen's vehicle that drove by the Hoosier Harvest store at 127, it came this way. Did he go back the same way later? So if there's another black vehicle that drives by right here at like 4:05 or something, and they just haven't told anybody about that yet, then that makes this Sarah Carbaugh sighting really important, because then it's like, okay, it verifies that there's this other person that looks just like that right there, and then Richard Allen's vehicle drives away past the Hoosier Harvest Store going this way, the same way he came in. Because Richard Allen, he lives right here in this house, and I think he drove there like this. He drove like that, down this street, and then he comes over here to 450 North, drives up this direction, takes a left on 300, goes over the Wilson Bridge, drives like this, comes around, and then drives past the cemetery, drives by the Mears property, drives by the Hoosier Harvest Store, and then he parks his car right there. So when he left, did he go back the same way? Because if you had just done a double homicide, would you want to drive back through town to get home? Or would you want to go back out like this in a rural area where nobody could see you? It takes 10 minutes. See how you get a little extra nuance when you're over here? See, now when you look at it, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, you get the gist. I mean, this is it right here, look. This right here are all the real significant elements. Really, even not even that. It's like the main significant elements of this case are right in here. Just like that. You know, just inside of that little window there. And not even that far up. I guess you could really make it like this. You could go from like right here to there, to ding, 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 like that, and then like that. I mean, it's crazy. There really isn't. So let's make that 5 and then make it red, and then you can see. See that inside of that? Oh shit! I got rid of it, but it was just. It's not a big area, and all of the important stuff is right inside that. Why do you think he wasn't seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera? Because I think he went like this. We just heard about it from Sarah Carbaugh today. So Sarah Carbaugh, she drove by the Hoosier Harvest Store at 3:57, like this. And when she was driving by here, there was a whole bunch of people right here. They were all showing up to look for Abby and Libby. And that's about right. You know, Derek got there at 3:15 and then made some phone calls at 3:30, and then people started showing up near 4 o'clock. So then when Sarah Carbaugh drives by, she sees a man muddy and bloody. So if Richard Allen, you know, bridge guy, is walking down the road like this, and he sees that there's a whole bunch of people over there, he's not going to want to walk by them muddy and bloody. He kind of, I think he cuts over here and makes his way behind these buildings, and then boom, he's right over here at the abandoned CPS building. And they probably avoid being detected. There's an actual camera on this building that has an angle that might have shown a vehicle here, but when I asked them if they got something from that, and they said no. All right, how about that? Does that work? Yeah, I think he saw people standing there and he walked around. Doesn't that make sense? Just, you know, just saying it. I mean, Sarah Carbaugh says there was a bunch of people right here. So if he was walking, he would have seen him, and he would want to get back to his car, but he'd want to avoid them. So he may have like kind of like ducked down a little bit and went through this video. Don't know, but it kind of makes sense, I think. In 9/12, Sarah Carbaugh saw a man on 300 North, long, what does it say? Sarah saw a man, 300 North, it says something like long blonde hair below waist. Purple sweater. What is this shit right here? Hey, thanks. Sammy Day just gifted a membership. Stacy Diener question. Purple sweater, gray pants, right leg. I don't know. Oh wait, they're describing what Sarah Carbaugh looks like. What the hell, you guys? Who cares what you... Sarah Carbaugh. She has long blonde hair below the waist, purple sweater, gray pants, right leg bouncing before questions start. Jesus. I thought you were describing the guy. I mean, what the hell's going on here? Thank you, Allie Cake. She lives in the Delphi area in Countryside. She says, I'm as local as you can get. She goes to the trail on a daily basis, walks her dogs in private because they aren't friendly dogs. She traveled on 300 North often, used the Mears entrance. So when they say Mears entrance, so a lot of times almost everybody, when they would go to these trails, their first option to park. So here's the Mears property. So if you're somebody out there that's not really aware of all the geography and everything, here's the Freedom Bridge. This is the area right here where Richard Allen passed the 3 girls that we heard about recently. This is a huge piece of evidence. This building here is the Hoosier Harvest Store that has all the vehicles going back and forth. 127, a vehicle matching Richard Allen's drives by. 146, Betsy Blair drives this direction and parks her car here. At 149, Kelsey's car drives by and drops off Abby and Libby and goes this direction. Then 214, Betsy Blair goes by, leaving for the day. Then there's another guy named 228. Wesley McWhirter is heading east, and he sees the vehicle parked at the abandoned CPS building. And then 357, Sarah Carbaugh is driving this direction. And a lot of people would, there's the Mears property. There's a parking spot right there. They would park their car there, then walk onto the trails and either go this way or that way, just hanging out. So anyway, Sarah Carbaugh drives by this building at 357 and then passes the Mears, but while passing the Mears, she sees that there's a group of people gathering looking for Abby and Libby, and she's driving, and then she pointed on a map apparently where this was, but nobody saw where she pointed, which is absolutely frustrating to me. So apparently it was after Mears, but not quite to the cemetery. So somewhere, right where I've had it all these years, right inside of here, he sees him, and that's what we're doing right now. We've already gone over the description earlier, but I think that that Richard Allen, the guy the bridge guy, the guy that Sarah Carbaugh saw, was walking this way and saw the group of people over here, and then that's why he cut across behind. I think he actually went up like this. And see this line here? I had it going from the cemetery, but I could probably change. I've had that for years on here. I think I could actually take that and maybe go like that. All right, so there you go. All right, you guys, say no to lulls. We have to bring back that old word. We're having one of those nights where it's going to be hard to get there if we don't pick up the pace. We've got 531 people watching. We are on October 23rd. We've only got 8 days left of the month. The last day of the month is when I donate money to various charities, and I also make an income on YouTube, and you guys are the solely responsible for it since there is no ad revenue. So if you guys have the ability to, I would appreciate your support. Thank you. Yeah, so anyways, I think he went up like that. So let's get back to the notes. No, it's not weird, Daphne. It's not weird at all. I just think you saw from a distance and he cut across. Yeah, it's not weird at all. I know everybody wants something to be weird to make it seem like Richard Allen is, What does that mean? Where do you think he walked from the scene to the graveyard? Yeah, well, right down below it, I mean, here's the crime scene, right? Right there, and he just walks up the hill through the back of the cemetery and out like that. Hey, Kelly S., when are you going to start firing out what I should be showing on the screen? Welcome, Leslie Thomas. Go the trail on a daily basis. She walks her dogs on private because they aren't friendly dogs. Traveled on 300 North often. Use Mears entrance. Across from Mears family homestead, old access point from farmhouse. Right. God, it's just so sad that they screwed up the rest of these notes because these are pretty good ones. Would walk across the bridge when she was 16, not now as an adult. Did 3 trips, chickened out on the last time. There was an Amber Alert, told her the girls were missing. So, she sees this guy sitting, walking there on the road, and then there's an Amber Alert. Badass American. We've gone over the car sightings a million different times. I think Betsy Blair just has a really imaginative, shitty memory. Okay? And that's just the truth. There isn't like all these different people backing in against the abandoned CPS building. Well, thanks, Testicles. I guess that's good. But come on, you guys. What's going on tonight? Why is tonight so much different than yesterday or the day before? Man. I'm doing as best I can, you guys. I don't know what to tell you. February 13th in area, but did not something right. Amber Alert told her the girls were missing. She was in the area, but did not something or other. And it says, driving by in Little Red Saturn to scope out how many people were on the trails based on how many cars were at the Mears entrance. I don't know what that means. Warm day, beautiful day, was off work, passed by 3 or 4 times, always cars there. So maybe she wanted to park there and do something, but every time she went there, it was packed. So the last time she drove by was around 4 p.m., and she noticed a group of people at the entrance, and there was a blonde girl talking to, maybe that's even Kelsey, to groups of people looking stressed out. And she was driving east, and she just looked stressed out. She said, I saw a man covered in mud and blood walking along the side of the road. And so it's the side of the road walking west to town, walking opposite from the north side of the road. So he was on the north side of the road walking west to town, so basically towards the abandoned CPS building. So he was walking opposite her travel. But so he's on the north side of the road, which is just sort of interesting in itself, right? He's on this side. And so that gives him, he can go over there if he wants to. There's just, no, yeah, there was. He started calling people at 3:30. Yeah, we've gone over that many times, Cindy. Many, many times. North side of the road, walking west to town, walking opposite her travel. Let's see, I looked at him, but he did not make eye contact with me. She was going about 35 miles an hour on that road. Did slow down a little bit. Did not recognize the man. Did not know the girls were missing yet. And then, let's see, it says Exhibit 20, map of the area, 300 north, marked by Sarah. Male arrow, so she makes an arrow on red on the road east of Mears entrance, okay, and put her initials, circles Mears entrance, vertical lines of where she saw the man. So she makes an arrow on the road east of Mears entrance and put her initials, circle means entrance, vertical lines of where she... But you didn't say where that was, you know. I mean, it's just crazy. Male arrow on road east of Mears. Okay. So it's east of Mears entrance, and put your initials. Circle means entrance. Vertical lines of where saw man. Okay, well anyways, it's east of Mears. Was name... was home when she heard the girls were missing. Saw her at, let's see, Exhibit 210, Bridge Guy picture. She recognized the picture in the news as the man she saw on the road. He was, let's see, covered in mud and blood. His demeanor and how he walked on the side of the road was very sketchy. Yeah, he had his head down, hands in his pocket, and he's kind of looking down. He's trying to make himself not really visible. Oh, it's pretty bad, Cairo. Hey, but good to see you. Surprised you haven't been here for this trial. Demonstrated how he walked in court. You know, hands near hips in front, hunched shoulders. Mud, top down. When got to bottom, covered in mud and blood spatters, I believe. I thought he fell down the cliff. Sun was setting when she saw him. Contacted police 3 weeks later. I was traumatized by anything. Yeah, with anything. And it says let's see. My inaction was me overthinking and panicking. I was having a moment. Officer taking tips at roadblock, a sign from God, and I needed to be brave. She gave her tip at the Mears entrance. When this happened, it turned the... I don't know what that means. It says it turned the county and every member in it upside down. So when this homicide happened. She helped police identify her car and the Hoosier Harvest Store camera. At 3:56 p.m. on cameras. Sarah, very confident, on the stand. Sarah's arms are crossed and legs are crossed. Baldwin comes in and starts asking questions. Baldwin, language change, mud. You changed it. It was mud 11 times with police interview. And she never said blood. I believe I did say blood. I was mumbling. I was nervous in that first interview. I said mud and blood. There's a portion, I stand up, that's when I said that. Blood not in transcript. Objection to Baldwin saying blood not in transcript. Asked and answered. Sustained. Second interview, June 19th, 2017. Mud 13 times, didn't say blood. But I thought she did say that. An hour of her interview was gone. She says she did say blood at some point. Yeah, so an hour of her interview is missing. Alright, you guys, so do I have to dance a jig tonight to get the support rolling on the channel? I'm doing the same amount of work that I'm doing every day, you guys. I need your guys' support on this channel on a nightly basis. An hour of her interview is gone. She says she did say blood at some point. Baldwin gives her transcript. Point out where you say blood in it. I do not see it in here, but I do remember talking to the officer about it. No one prevented you from saying... And third interview 2 years later, only said blood, never said mud. I understand you're doing your job. I saw a man on the side of the road with mud and blood, and that's that. Gives her the 2019 transcript. Defined word muddy. I mentioned blood in here. I did not see mud. So your description of mud and blood, not consistent. Guess not. I said blood 16 times. Looked like a hog was slaughtered. That's what you said. Why would I suspect he was a murderer at that point? Did you step to something him? I don't know, chicken wing. This is one of those nights I'm gonna have to cut short. No, why would I stop to help a random man? And then I guess they did some sort of an animation. I don't know. Oh, she was animated. No, why would I stop to help a random man? She's really animated. First time she said it was a tan coat. But you know what's interesting, if you look at the this video here. Yeah, go back to the beginning. See, underneath that blue jacket is a brown, sort of tan looking jacket. Or like a hoodie or something. Could he have taken the blue top off of it? Don't know. Thanks, Dennis Boyd. Okay, first said tan coat, then changed to blue after she saw pictures. Think memory is more brown than blue because it was curved. Man, well, he has a brown, Let's see, first said tan coat, then changed to blue after saw the picture. I think memory is more brown than blue because he was covered. You know more about this than I do. Outside this testimony, I want nothing to do with this. Hard not to see the image. It's plastered all over town. But it's interesting how he has that brown underneath there, so maybe he took the blue jacket off. Brown sweater under tan coat, under his blue coat. Guy you saw had, had something in it to his hair, curled to his hair. I passed something while I was driving, had little hair, like something peeking out or something. You said he had effeminate eyes. Are you romanticizing this? That's what Sarah said. Are you romanticizing this? To him? And then Baldwin said, wanted her to look at the deposition to see where she said that. No, I'm good, she said. I don't need to look at it. Like she was being pretty combative in there. She doesn't really say affectionate. Now, see, look how crappy these get now. Because I had to blow this sucker up. I mean, this is just... Let's see. Her phone pinged off that tower. She has Verizon. So you saw pictures, but waited 3 weeks to take it to police. I saw him 30 seconds at most. You saw him for a more instant, can't tell you how many something he has are affectionate eyes or feminine eyes. 952 Baldwin something. Then Diener came back in and said, when you say tan sweater, what are you or maybe it says remembering. A hoodie. Ah, jeez. See, that is what he has underneath that blue jacket, you guys. Though we've always said that the blue, that underneath there is a brown hoodie. Did you see a hat? He had an odd, it says he has odd to me. It was a something, frankly, it was a Frankie looking hat. Jesus, what a stupid, I mean, it's just so blurry all of a sudden. Seen too many hats interviews over the years. It's like a Tinder profile of hats. Did swiping something when she's, oh, okay, I can't read it. I'm not even sure I'm going to read the rest of these because they get worse. Actually, number 9 and 10 are good. So this is what it's supposed to look like. But what they did was they sent an image that was about a quarter the size, and then you blow it up and it lost all of its detail. Police had her phone. Okay, I just want to let you know, currently we're at 40% of a nightly goal. All right? And as I say on a nightly basis, and it sucks that I have to always say it over and over and over again, but if you guys have the ability to help support this channel, that allows me to keep doing these shows, it allows me to give away tons of money at the end of the month, and allows me to, you know, again, keep doing these, and you have the ability to, I would appreciate your support. I know there isn't only 4 people out there that have the ability to support the channel, so if you can, I would appreciate it. I mean, I've been covering this case since the beginning. I know all the little details and all the facts, where everything is, and it'd be great if this channel got supported like the new ones that are covering it, that have, they don't know really much of anything. So if you could, that would be great. It would feel good, you know, the fact that a channel that's been covering it all these years, doing their best to get the real information out there, got supported by the people watching it. Okay? Wouldn't that be great? Thank you. He was really muddy. He had to be, let's see, police had her phone. Carbaugh, her phone was in the area. Second interview, reviewed it. Discovered a portion was missing in an hour of her hour and a half. Then when you said mud and blood, and officers show you pictures of bridge guy. And then exhibit 221, pictures of bridge guy. She marked in the police interview, used pencil, showed a picture, dots of blood on his pants, lines are mud. Can't make out what that is. Something like trying to show that. Marked same sleeves. If I knew this was the girls to be, was going to be evidence, I would have used a better marker. He was really muddy. He had to be down by the river, she said. Thanks, little puppy paws. I guess you were the only one that heard what I just said. Amazing. And you're always helping out. It would be great if other people would too. He was really muddy. He had to be down by the river. Objections from Baldwin as the questions about mud and blood in interview. Thank you, Paulette Leonard and Poppy. Yeah, that video I made today was great until it got absolutely, it was getting like 2,000 views, and then just everybody stopped watching it because these live streams started happening all over the place, and then it got buried in the dust heap of YouTube at that exact moment. Objection from Baldwin as the questions about mud and blood in interview. Baldwin, so you were just exhausted of talking about mud in third interview. So you were just exhausted of talking about mud in the third interview. Then, what'd she say? You said mud 13 times in the second interview. We're doing this again, she said. And then Baldwin said, yes, we are. Thank you, Tania Animus and Annabella Roma. We just made it to the 50% mark. All right. Let's see. What age in February of 2017? 27 or 28? There you go. 26 maybe, she said. How wide is the road? It's a county road, can fit one car comfortably, but two something are off. Don't know what that is. What make you think it was blood? Because I saw blood spatters. What does it say? How obvious blood, is that the word? How obvious blood compared to mud? It was still in bright phase, she said, or something. Yeah, that was her answer. How close to the man were you? She said less than 3 feet. Yeah, I don't know, because the road, she'd have to be on the right-hand side of the road, so it'd be, I'd say at least like 10. You said 20 feet in the interview. I was driving. I didn't take a ruler out and say, hey, I was 17 inches away. No. Said with attitude. I think I would think that was fun. That's my type of, sarcasm. Thank you, Lynn Lewin. Thanks for sharing all your knowledge. Great. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's just weird some nights when I'm doing these shows and you see, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just feels odd when this channel doesn't get the same support that these newbies with all the ooh. Kind of disappointing. Baldwin not accused. Let's see. Accused from subpoena. Baldwin not excused from subpoena. Oh, so she had to keep her around. Okay. So she's not going to be able to leave. And then they started this new crap, but look at this, you guys. From this distance, you can almost read something. I wonder if it's just better to read it from further out like that. Forensic pathology specialist applied medicine pathology. Baldwin talks to Allen closely in his ear. Let's see, what did it say right there? 4 terms of, so this is his career background. I don't really care about that. Yeah, I don't know. This is just too brutal here, you guys. I can barely, when you're out far, you can almost tell what it says. Didn't we see arms? Didn't we see any overt patterns of injuries? But when you zoom in, I guess you can still kind of see that. But it's a little easier to read when it's out like that. But injuries to... Yeah, and see, then you just can't read anything after that. I think I'm just going to move on to these other things. And look how bad these ones are. This one, they try to sneak 6 in here. Well, you can't see anything, sorry. Look at this. Watch this. When you zoom in on that, you can't read it. It's brutal. When you're out about this far, you can almost sort of read, but it's just not, it's too slow. You can't get it. They got too lazy. They should have sent each page by itself, scanned in at high quality. Instead, they go, oh, let's just do them all the same, and it's just garbage. I don't know what these people are doing. It's almost like they purposely try to sabotage, but they have their own copy of really good notes, but they can claim that they gave you the good notes, but they didn't. It's wild. So they have the copies of the really good notes, and then they send out, almost like they're punking you. Look how good these are. Look how good these are. Okay, now here's the crappy ones that you can't finish the story. Stupid. So I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to try to find some of the articles out there. I have them in a folder. So here's the Fox 59. I'm not sure if they go from down top to bottom. Okay, I think it goes down. Yeah, so day 5 of the murder trial included testimony from pathologists and another witness who reported seeing Bridge Guy. Richard Allen faces 4 counts of murder, blah, 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 blah. Wednesday marked the 5th day of testimony since the trial began on Friday. Tuesday's proceedings included an account of items found at the murder scene and testimony on the infamous Bridge Guy video. Witnesses who reported seeing a man on the Delphi trails also testified. So where is she talking? Okay, here it is. During Wednesday's session, Sarah Carbaugh testified. She described herself as local as you can get, and said she went to the trail daily to walk her dogs as teenagers. She used to walk on the Monenhigh Bridge, although she stopped when she was an adult. She testified that she saw Bridge Guy walking down County Road 300 North by the cemetery now. Now it's like, see, they keep changing it around. Nobody knows. By the cemetery around 4 p.m., but they might be saying that, you know, the Mears property is near the cemetery. I don't know, but around 4 p.m. on February 13th, while she was driving by, he was hunched over and plodding along with his hands in his pockets. I looked at him, but he did not make eye contact with me, she told the court. According to Carbaugh's account, the man's clothes were bloody and muddy, with blood visible on his lower legs, feet, and ankles. The rest of him was muddy, as if he had fallen down a hill or into a muddy creek. I'm going to label him Bridge Guy, because that's what I know him by, she said. She added that she recognized the image later released to the public of the man sought in connection with the girl's death. She saw it on the news. Carbaugh waited 3 weeks to contact police. I mean, that's a little bit bothersome that she waited that long. She blamed her inaction on trauma and panic, telling the court she was overthinking and having a moment. But she did come forward early, and it actually matches, you know, what's going on there. I don't know why they call them. They're pool notes, because it's the pool of reporters taking notes, and they put them all together. But I'm just telling you, it's just... Here's what I will say. I will say, if Lauren from on Hidden True Crime, if she was the pool reporter, everybody would have everything you needed to tell the story. Because she was a reporter, or is one, I guess, and she just writes. I mean, like, I don't know how she's doing it and listening, because she's got like everything. So I don't know how in the hell... you know, these other reporters just aren't seemingly caring about it. There's some of them are good, like this person was writing good here. It's just that they didn't take the time to make it so that it was usable. Like 30 extra pages aren't usable because they didn't take the time to take each picture and make it its own page, you know, or page, you know, take a picture of each page. Yeah. Well, she's a reporter right now, but I mean, I think she'll end up learning the case better as the trial goes on. But she definitely, you know, you can tell like she cares about it, and the notes are just, you know, I mean, it's like, it's unbelievably better than these ones that I mean, the ones I'm reading aren't bad. They're just, you know, not that detailed and kind of the broad strokes. Yeah, well, I actually told her, I go, hey, you know, maybe we could do something where I come on and I can show the locations and everything in pictures, so that, you know, because she has this huge audience that isn't getting the full picture of like where everything is, and just sort of in your mind you have the context is better, right? And I don't want all these people out there sort of wondering and sort of like, you know, that's how you get the people that are sort of, wow, you know, maybe Richard Allen's the killer, everybody. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, I sent her an email and I apologize because I have been critical, you know, like harsh. And I still, I mean, I felt that way. I feel that way. Like, man, what's going on? Like, these people that haven't been covering the case, you know, they get to be there, but she covers it, reports on it so well that it's like, it's a benefit, you know, and then she'll just learn it as it's going on, and I can tell that she cares. So, you know, I don't feel the same way I did a couple days ago. But currently we're at 60%, you guys, so we're still struggling tonight to get to our goal. I'll feel much better if we get to the goal. It'll just be like, okay, at least we got there. We can keep moving forward. Yeah, well, I put out a video today, and it was doing really well, and it just, all of a sudden, on a dime, it's like a truck hit it and killed it. So I don't know how I can get people to go watch the video that I made, because I was trying to make a video to take the pressure off the show, you know, but it didn't happen. It was happening, and then it quit happening. Why would I play it now? Then none of you will go watch it. And Kelly, why are you constantly telling me what to do on my show? I mean, it's really weird, you know. Thanks, Michelle H. Like every show now, you're saying you're trying to tell me what to do on it. Do that later. She saw an officer taking tips at a roadblock and saw that as a sign to reveal what she had seen. She helped police identify her vehicle on cameras from the Hoosier Harvest store. Yeah, I think she's telling the truth, you know, because she really did drive by there. She wasn't like making up a story. She drove by. The state didn't ask her opinion on whether Bridge Guy was Richard Allen. Carbaugh's testimony appeared to be the strongest account among those who testified about seeing Bridge Guy. Wow, that's interesting. See, the other three girls, this is how it works, you guys. This is what the state's doing right here, and I think they're doing a good job of it. So what they're starting off with is you bring up those other girls, the three girls, and they all saw a person, and sure, they describe him a little differently out of their memory, but each one of them, when they were shown a picture of the Bridge Guy, said, oh yeah, that's the guy we saw, 100%. Betsy Blair, even though she had a different description, did the same thing. Now, if you missed the show last night, everybody, this is something that's incredibly important that I actually texted one of the investigators just on the side, and they were like, hey, thanks, you know, we'll see how it turns out. But this is something that actually matters, okay? A lot here. So for years, or not year, well, I guess 2 years now, since the probable cause document came out, year and a half, yeah, about 2 years really. When the probable cause document came out, we knew that Betsy Blair said that she was 50 feet away. She went to the bridge and then turned around, and she was 50 feet away from Richard Allen, who's on platform 1, or, you know, the Bridge Guy who's on platform 1. And guess what? Watch this. You measure from the start of the bridge, and you go right here, and that is 51 feet. And I was like, okay, boom. And I always had a pin right here. Always had a pin right there where Betsy Blair was at the start of the bridge. But in her testimony, she said she went to the barricade and turned around. All right? Well, that is a massive, massive difference, because the barricade is right there. It's not right there. It's right here. See that little dark line there? So now look at this. So while the person was on platform 1, if you go from right there on the barricade and then draw it out to platform 1 right there, 111 feet, 37 yards. Okay, 37 yards on the dot, basically. That's a third of a football field and then some. There is no way in hell Betsy Blair had a good view and could see details like that. Her memory was just, oh yeah, he's got brown hair, because the hoodie hat was brown. And I just explained it to you. I just measured the whole thing. Did you hear what I said? I just measured the whole thing. It's 111 feet from the barricade to the first platform. Do you think these were his first victims ever? Yeah, I think so, probably. I don't know. There could be somebody else.
Do you think these were his first victims ever? May those beautiful girls rest in peace, Hart.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, KK. You're just, that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. What are you talking about? I don't think she changed them beyond. What are you talking about? They just lost the hour. Who said they recorded over it? They didn't have it anymore. Yeah. Thank you, Isabel Wheaton. Did you think these were the first victims? Many of those, yeah. I do think they're probably the first one. He probably built up over the years, you know. Right, but, you know, what you said wasn't accurate. Distance isn't so much the issue. When two people walk past or near each other, no one is thinking, yeah, but it is an issue, though. It is. It's an issue. It definitely is an issue, because if you're 50 feet away, you can actually get out, make some details and see it, right? And, yeah, well, I mean, she's not changing her story. She said muddy and bloody, but muddy and bloody, look at muddy, bloody, muddy. They sound kind of the same, so she might have had muddy, bloody. And then it was just like muddy, you know, and who knows how it went. And by the way, she said in June of 2017 that there was blood, and then he also said in, when was it? In 2019, she definitely said muddy and bloody. But who was there? There was nobody to be accused when she said that. So what was the benefit of the changing story in 2019 when there wasn't even anybody? There wasn't the Keegan Kline thing. There was nobody. It wasn't until 2022 that Richard Allen in October was arrested, and Keegan Kline was in 2020. So, you know, you could sit there all day and go, oh, she was just trying to make the story. They made her make it match. Nope, you're wrong. Hey, thanks, Mark. Welcome. He was saying she keeps changing her story. Yeah, okay. Well, but your reply was something like somebody wrote over her notes. I didn't see that in the recording, I mean. Maybe she has a shorthand that she developed as a reporter. Who? Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. We kind of moved on from that. They were trying to get the search warrant thrown out. Who are you talking to, Lynn? This chat's crazy tonight, man. I'm telling you. It's all over the place. Let's see. Cross-examination was more difficult and charged at times, however, and Carbaugh became combative with the defense. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin said her 2017 statement consistently said the man was muddy and not bloody. He noted that blood didn't appear in transcript of her interview. That led to an objection from the state. Baldwin mentioned a second follow-up interview from Carbaugh in which she said mud and not blood. Carbaugh responded that she did mention blood, but police didn't write it down. She also said her videotaped interview was lost due to problems with the police recording system. The state has said some early interviews were lost due to an error. So whatever that means. I don't know if that means writing over or whatever the hell that means. Baldwin gave her transcript of an interview and asked where it said blood. I do not see it here, but I do remember talking to the officer about it, she said. Baldwin brought up a third interview from 2019. In that one, he said Carbaugh used blood and not mud. Well, there you go. I mean, so that's 2019. There's no benefit for her. Well, it was an error. They didn't say they wrote over it. I do not see it here, but I do remember talking to the officer about it. Baldwin brought up a third interview from 2019. In that one, he said Carbaugh used blood and not mud. I understand you're doing your job, she said to Baldwin. I saw a man on the side of the road with mud and blood, and that's that. Baldwin also took issue with her description of Bridge Guy's coat color, saying Carbaugh didn't say his coat was blue until after the infamous photo was released to the public. Baldwin said she called it tan, while she recalled it was more brown. Yeah, well, brown is what the Bridge Guy has underneath the blue jacket. Something she explained by reminding the court that Bridge Guy was covered in mud and blood. So even if he wasn't covered in mud and blood, maybe that they didn't say it was recorded over KK. They said there was an error. They didn't say that. It says they have some early interviews associated with the case that were lost due to an error. Yeah, and it says there was a problem with their recording system. They didn't say anything about writing over. That's what I'm saying. I didn't see that part. All right, how do we keep moving along here, guys? We're just getting crushed tonight. Dead as a doornail. We're still at 60%, not moving forward. We're still $90 short of just a normal nightly goal. And if we get to that number, that's when I'll donate the 5 memberships just to do. But we're, way behind. What do you mean, tell us to consider? What does that mean, Raina? Just a sentence that starts like that? Tell us to consider that they saw a guy with wet pants. Baldwin also took issue with her description of Bridge Guy's coat color, saying Carbaugh didn't say his coat was blue until after the infamous photo was released to the public. Baldwin said she called it tan, while she recalled it was more brown, something she explained by reminding the court that Bridge Guy was covered in mud and blood. Hey, Sammy Day gifted a membership to Foster Dogs of Memphis. Welcome. You tried what? Carbaugh's frustration was apparent during cross-examination, becoming combative and sarcastic at times in response to the defense's questions. When asked why she waited 3 weeks to talk to police, she replied, Cowardly liar here, just a chicken. Baldwin said Carbaugh told police Bridge Guy had effeminate eyes. She didn't recall making the statement and asked if Baldwin was romanticizing her deposition. He wanted her to check the transcript, but she replied, no, I'm good. She later said she recalled seeing a hat, a funky-looking hat, that's what it said on that other article thing, a funky-looking hat on Bridge Guy, and told the court she had been presented with so many samples that it was like a Tinder profile of hats. During jury questioning, she said her car was less than 3 feet. So a juror asked her a question. It was less than 3 feet away from the Bridge Guy. After Carbaugh testified, pathologist Roland Core took the stand. Core conducted the autopsy on Abby Williams and Liberty German on February 15, 2017, 1 day after they were found dead. Abby's autopsy was first, Core said. She was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and blue jeans. The sexual assault kit was administered. Core said there was no overt injuries indicating assault. Deputy Prosecutor James Luttrell asked Core that if that meant there was no sexual contact. Core answered it simply meant there was no trauma left behind as evidence. He observed no blunt force trauma or defensive wounds. Core testified that he saw a faint linear mark, a reddish mark near the bottom of her lip. He told the court it could have been duct tape or cloth, but added there was no glue, tape, residue, and provided no definitive answer as to what may have caused the mark. Abby suffered a single mortal wound to the left side of her neck that hit the jugular vein. He estimated she bled out in 5 to 10 minutes and said death was not instantaneous. He later said she would and she was stabbed while dressed. That's my opinion. While completely dressed, meaning the clothes, she had Libby's jeans on, she had Libby's sweatshirt on, she had her pink shirt on, she had the 2 bras on, and she had her own shoes on, and then she was killed. So somehow she was allowed to put all of that back on, and I think the killer actually changed their mind. Like they were going to let her live, but then went, forget it. And then just gave her one jab, and it went right to the jugular vein. He knew it, and she died. I think Libby was killed first. He observed no blunt force trauma or defensive wounds. See, there you go. There's no defensive wound. Deputy Prosecutor James Luttrell asked Core if that meant there was no assault. Core answered it simply means there was no trauma left behind as evidence. He observed no blunt force trauma or defensive wounds. Core testified that he saw a faint linear mark, a reddish mark near the bottom of her lip. He told the court it could have been from duct tape. Abby suffered a single mortal wound to the left side of her neck that hit the jugular vein. He estimated she bled out in 5 to 10 minutes and said death was not instantaneous. He later said she would definitely have had the chance to react to her injuries. While Abby suffered the single wound, Libby had at least 3 injuries to the right side of her neck. It could have been as many as 5, Core said, because it appeared the knife made a second pass at some of the wounds. I think he didn't hit the jugular vein well enough, so he went digging back into the same wound. That is just, Jesus. Sick. Yeah. She was hit in the carotid arteries, which would have accelerated her death. She had no defensive wounds and no signs of sexual trauma or restraint, according to Core. He noticed some very small abrasions on her chest. She suffered cerebral edema, swelling to the brain, and due to the severity of her wounds, would have likely died more quickly than her friend. He couldn't tell if the attacker was right or left-handed in either case, right? Because you could have, if you stab somebody from the front, usually, I guess it depends on how you're holding the knife, but if it's like left to right, downward, that would probably be like a right hand over the head striking like that. But you could be on the other side of them, so that would be like you're standing feet to feet. But let's say you're standing at their head and you stab down, then the knife would go the other direction. So, I guess it's hard to tell in certain circumstances. No, I don't think there was 2 weapons. While Abby suffered the single wound, Libby had at least 3 injuries to her right side of her neck. It could have been as many as 5, Core said, because it appeared the knife made a second pass. We said that. She had no defensive wounds and no signs of sexual trauma, restraint, according to Core. He noticed some very small abrasions on her chest. She suffered cerebral edema, swelling to the brain, and due to the severity of her wounds, would have likely died more quickly. He couldn't tell if the attacker was right or left-handed. In his autopsy report, Core wrote that some of the wounds were serrated and suggested multiple weapons may have been used. He told the defense during a February deposition that there may have been some class of serration in some of the wounds. He later told the court he was unsettled over the serration issue. He now believes the wounds could have been caused by something like a box cutter. He said the minimum number of weapons needed for the murder was 1. Defense attorney Brad Rosie then asked, "You don't know how many knives were used, do you?" "No," Cora responded. I mean, why would Richard Allen bring more than one? I mean, you wouldn't need to use more than one. Toward the end of the session, Rosie expressed frustration. See, they want it to be more than one so they can bring the Odinist people in there. It doesn't make sense that there was 2 weapons, Ozo. It doesn't make sense. Toward the end of the session, Rosie expressed frustration that Core met with the prosecution 3 times after his deposition without contacting the defense about his changing thoughts on the murder weapon. Let's see, and it says, after Core's testimony, court broke for lunch. There you go. And then we're going to go over this blog by Wish TV. They had a good one. And we'll start down at the bottom because I think it goes upwards. Alright guys, I'm going to have to say it again. If you guys are out there and you're watching this channel, if you want to allow me to keep doing these shows on a nightly basis, if you guys could please help support the channel. I shouldn't have to be asking, but I'm doing it anyways. So if you guys can please help support the channel, it'd be great because we're getting near the end of the month again, and we got to give some money away. I mean, we've already given $850 out this month. We've given the Abby and Libby Ballpark $1,500 this year so far, and that kind of stuff only really happens is when the income is coming into the channel. I know you guys want to just keep talking about something else, and you're not really listening to what I'm saying, but you need to be listening to what I'm saying because this show needs to be able to last and keep doing this. All right. If not, we'll just be relegated to the videos, and that's kind of the sad part of the story. All right. Especially when we're doing a case like this. This would be when we're doing well for a month. Thank you, Case Crack. What evidence did law enforcement have for the search warrant? A ton. Yeah. The search warrant, we've gone over the search warrant probably 50 times on this show. Yeah, it's just chock filled with information. All right, let's see. We got 9:25 a.m. Online court records show that Richard Allen's defense has filed a motion to admit evidence in court regarding Odinism and the theory the girls were murdered as a ritualistic killing. And there you go. That's why they want to have multiple weapons in there. But why do we want to discuss it? I'm not going over the whole search warrant again, Case Crack. I mean, I mean, here, I'll show it to you in 30 seconds. This is what was in the search warrant. Okay? I'm going to do this in an 8-minute period here. But we're going to need some more support for the channel. Here we go. The 3 girls are right there at the start of the bridge at 12:43. Then at 1:26, they were at a bench right here, and they took some photographs. There was actually a 4th girl, but she's only like 12. Then they walked this direction, and at 1:27, though, this black car here, that's Richard Allen's vehicle. A vehicle matching his drives by and parks at the abandoned CPS building there. And then Richard Allen gets out of his car and passes those 3 girls. They see him and he sees them. And the reason I'm saying Richard Allen is because he told the Dan Doolin back in 2017 that he went to the trails at 1:30 and left at 3:30. And when he got there, he passed 3 girls. Well, they both admit to seeing each other. So then Richard Allen walks to the bridge. That's what he said he did. In fact, he even said he went to platform 1. Then Betsy Blair, who drove underneath State Road 25 over here, drives around, and then he parks right here across from Mears property, and Betsy Blair gets out of the car and starts walking towards the bridge because she's exercising. And then right behind is Kelsey, who gets out, or drives by and lets out Abby and Libby, and they're walking slower because they're just there taking pictures, etc. Betsy Blair runs into Richard Allen at the bridge, but she's 114 feet away, not 50. Turns around and then passes Abby and Libby, halfway between there and the parking area. Then Betsy Blair continues along all the way to the Freedom Bridge and comes back. But down below here, Richard Allen probably gave the girls some space to make them feel comfortable, and then continued and followed them across the creek. And then he, but before going down over here on the bridge, he says, guys, down the hill. He cycles a bullet into the chamber of the gun and says, down the hill. Then he takes the girls across the creek and kills them. And over here, a bullet was found on the ground, which matches the bullet that was, well, they got that information in the search warrant, but the information, that all the other information there was enough, because you don't even need the bullet. Richard Allen places himself on the bridge. He admits to seeing the girls. He walks to the bridge, and Abby and Libby are going to see him next. Okay? Right. Anyways, that's it. Really simple stuff. And, you know. Now, so let's go through this right here. You guys, we haven't even moved on the screen here. What's going on tonight? Maybe I'll have to throw myself in prison. Maybe that'll help tonight. Let's see. Maybe if I get thrown in there, you guys can bail me out. Yeah, there we go. And after we get bailed out, then we'll get moving on to the next part. It's insane. I don't know why I'm in here. I'm in here because I got to get bailed out. It's been the deadest show in the history of the planet in the last hour. I'm not sure why Case Cracked is confused. It's really simple stuff. Yeah, let's do it, Nina. Let's get me bailed out of here. Okay, there's Allie Cake. She got me some ramen. She got me some top ramen. Who else is out there? We're not going to get the... I'm going to try to get the... I'm not going to just try. I'm going to get the transcript of the trial later. Wow, I got 2 packs of ramen. Jesus, you guys. You're trying to get me on some salt? Okay, there's some bail there. That's enough to maybe get a key into a piece of cake, but that's about it. Remember it being said, the opening. Oh, and then, I got some pickle juice to get rid of my cramp. Why'd you get me pickle juice, Poppy? Is that for the cramps late at night? And then Lynn got a file, so... I guess that's the file that we're putting into the cake that this account bought. And then we've got a pen and paper to write note to get out. So what am I doing? I'm handing it to the officer with a little bit of money. Thank you, Wendy Van Rokel. And then Marva. I guess that's going to be some bail there. And then Primal Curiosities. I think we got 8 more to go. We get out of prison. Let's see. And if not, we'll get out of prison anyway. Oh, and there's Nina Armstrong. Phone privileges. Oh, shit. Man, who the hell am I going to call? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, we have the best information there. That's why it's so strange that I have nights where I'm not getting supported. But hey, it just is what it is, I guess, you know? I never really made it into that spot where it's just drama, and everybody's so excited. I'm just doing cases, and if you guys followed my Idaho 4 case, it's just probably even better almost in some ways. It's actually almost identical, the way I've covered both of them. You know, and that one too, you got a crazy community of people that think that Brian Koberger is innocent. Oh, look at that, I got a Snickers bar from Chewbacca. Sky just joined, thank you. And Mrs. Ryan, all right. Very cool. All right, well, I'm going to get out of prison now, you guys. Thank you. I thought I was actually going to be sitting in prison for the rest of the show. So you guys got me out of there. All right, anyways, here we go. This is going to be the... So 9 a.m. court is set to begin. So it kind of goes backwards like this. Oh, that's a brief summary of day 4. Okay, so it goes up to here. Hey, look at that. Coffee Bean Queen. Well, at least you guys are supportive when I'm in prison, okay? Because before I was put in prison, man, it was...
Between ritual and murder. It's still murder.
Yeah, there's nothing. So here's how the case is looking so far, you guys. All 3 girls out there said that the person the 3 girls, let's just start with them. The person they saw is the person in Libby's video. Betsy Blair said the person they saw is the person in Libby's video, even though their recollection a day later or something sounds different. But when they see the picture, they go, oh yeah, that's the guy, right? That's a better way to do it, right? When you're shown a picture, you go, yep, that's him. Not like, well, let's see, kind of had brown, you know, you don't really remember. And Betsy Blair was 114 feet away, not 50, like she seemed to say. It's a big difference, okay? And so, anyways, they all see the same person. And how the case is working is the jury knows that they saw the same person. It's the guy on the bridge. Then you've got, so again, we have the Betsy Blair one. And then eventually what they're going to do is they're going to show, and they show the video that has the bridge guy in it, that those 4 people said that's who they saw, okay? Then when they do the Dan Doolin interview, it's going to say that Richard Allen got there at 1:30 and he left at 3:30. The Hoosier Harvest Store video is going to prove that a car matching the description of Richard Allen's vehicle drove by the Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:27, and other individuals saw a car parked backwards at the abandoned CPS building, and he said he parked at the old building. Okay? Then after that's established, and they say that he also told Dan Doolin that he passed the 3 girls. Well, guess what happens now? They say they saw him, he saw them, and they all said the person they saw is the person in Libby's video. So now Richard Allen is telling the courts that he's the guy that they saw in Libby's video. Then he goes on to say in later interviews that he walked down the path to the bridge and he gets on to platform 1. That's exactly where Betsy Blair saw him standing. Then he goes on to say that I was wearing blue jeans, a dark blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hoodie and some sort of head covering. Boy, that looks familiar. Then they're going to show that a bullet found at the crime scene, and by the way, the same bullet likely that was put into the chamber when he told the girls to go down the hill, was ejected at the crime scene, because when they arrested Richard Allen, they found a .40 caliber Sig Sauer P226 that matched the ejection marks of the bullet they found. So the bullet they found at the crime scene matched other bullets ejected from the same gun in tests, the P226 that Richard Allen owns. So at that point, the circumstantial chain is getting really tight around Richard Allen. And if that wasn't enough, he confessed multiple times while in prison, and in many of those confessions, he had information that only the killer would know. And then at that point, the jury is feeling like they have permission now to believe that those three girls, they all did see him, because all the other stuff lines up and it matches. You get it? So that's how it works. Don't you see how that works? You don't have to have a DNA strand or a video showing the shooting, or, you know, like the death itself. I was just being in general. Do you guys get what I just said? You guys are all talking about something else. What do you think about that? That right there is it. And they're doing it in the right order. And they're going to have other stuff. They're going to have information about steps that Libby's phone took. It turned off at 2:32. The theory that the defense is going to try to put out there is going to be completely shredded into oblivion. They're going to try to say that the girls were taken off the end of the bridge right here. I got to go to a different one. Go to Google Earth. They're going to say the girls were taken off the end of the bridge right here, and then down the hill to the private drive, and then driven away by somebody. And then for some unknown reason, they drove them back to the same spot while there were searchers all around, and then had them walk across the creek, and then killed them later in the evening. I mean, these people are nuts, okay? And it has to be that because they actually had water on their jeans. Yeah, it's not complicated. That's the thing, Stephen. You're exactly right. This is not complicated. Just like Brian Koberger's is not complicated. This one is simple. And people go, well, why would he tell people where he was? Why? You know why he did that? Because he was trying to get ahead of the story. Richard Allen worked at a CVS pharmacy. These are all the arguments I'd be making. Richard Allen works at a CVS pharmacy. He works at a CVS pharmacy, and guess what? People see him on a daily basis. When he went to the trails that day, he passed three girls. He wasn't sure if they recognized him or anything, perhaps. So after he does the killings, he's sitting at home and he's kind of panicking. He's worried. And then it's possible, we don't know when, the Dan Doolin report was filed compared to when the Bridge Guy image was released. Okay? So when the Bridge Guy image was released, did he come forward? He called the tip line himself. So did he call the tip line after the image was released, or was it just the three girls? Either way, you could see him panicking, right, Zozo? So he would absolutely be panicking at that point. And he'd be saying, I need to get ahead of this crap. So he calls the tip line. He gets Dan Doolin over there, and Dan Doolin asks him some questions, and he thinks they've already got him dead to rights. So he's like, yeah, I was on the trails from 1:30 to 3:30, and, I saw these three girls, and those are the three girls he thinks could identify him. So he was trying to, sort of be honest, hey, I saw these three girls, and so it's likely that it was just after the three girls. He knew that he saw them, and he thinks they may know who he is. So he says, yeah, I saw these three girls. And, I think that's exactly what's going on, is he's trying to get ahead of it. So he says, yeah, I saw the three girls. And then he ends up telling him how he passed them and he goes to the bridge. And then Dan Doolin, the genius that he is, he said, note to self, who are those three girls? You're talking to the killer, okay? We don't give a shit who the three girls. The guy on the bridge is a guy, right? And I've always said this, you guys. Listen to this. What if Dan Doolin was clever enough and said to Richard Allen, "Oh, we know you're there, Richard Allen. We've got you on a trail camera." And here's the picture right here. See, with the blue jacket, the And he'd go, yeah, wow, you guys have trail cameras out there? And then he'd say, yeah, can you put your hands behind your back? You know, because the video was taken from Libby's phone, not a trail camera. And so that would have ended the case probably within 3 days. It would have been over. Instead, Richard Allen, for 5 years, was getting away with it and ended up, I always liken him to Gollum from Lord of the Rings, where the ring had such weight on Smeagol, where he ends up turning into Gollum. And I think it's the same thing with Richard Allen. And you see this massive transformation in what he looked like from 2017 until 2022. Yeah. Huh? What are you guys talking about? What went down? Whose testimony? Who are you talking about? Oh, Dan Doolin? Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear Dan Doolin. Yeah, I think everybody wants to hear Dan Doolin. And I think it's just going to be a nothing burger. Dan Doolin's going to say, these are the notes I took. I didn't have my camera, but these are the notes I took. The defense team's going to make it pretend that he invented the whole timeline after the fact. But here's the thing. Guess what? The probable cause for the search warrant had Dan Doolin's information in it. Right? So they wouldn't have been able to invent that to counter Richard Allen's questioning. You get it? So it wouldn't be like Richard Allen said, oh, I got there at 12 and left at 1:30, and they're like, ooh, that doesn't work. We need Dan Doolin to tell us it was 1:30 to 3:30. But his information was put out there before that interview, I believe, because that's what led to the search warrant. And then Richard Allen, knowing that the time frame from 1:30 to 3:30 is important, changed his theory, his time frame, amazingly just outside the time frame. So it was 1:30 to 3:30, and then all of a sudden now it's 12 to 1:30. But that doesn't work either. And that's because those three girls were on the trails from like 12:20 all the way up until 1:30 when they left. And they didn't see a soul until they were leaving. And that's what also makes the car that drove by, the Hoosier Harvester that matches his vehicle, way more likely to be his than it would have been without that. You get it? Yeah. Right, so who's in the chat right now that's like, yeah, you know, I don't know, man. I don't see it. Well, ask me a question, okay? Ask me something. And put it in a super chat, of course. Anyways, just, okay, right now we're $11 short of me donating 5 memberships. So if you guys want to get to that, that would be great. We're almost at that number. How in the world could Doolin have not said anything about Richard Allen when everyone in the country was looking? Well, I mean, I don't know. I think what it is he's not somebody that was like really tied in deeply into the case. You know, I think you just got to realize that there's a lot of people out there that aren't geniuses. You know, they're just kind of mucking around through life, not really thinking through stuff. You would think that at some point he would go, you know, what about that guy, you know, that I told you guys about, that he got there at 1:30 and left at 3:30. I mean, that's crazy, right? They would have said, who are you talking about? And he named him, he gave him the wrong name, by the way. So that might have made it harder for them, but I think he wrote down, hold on, I'll tell you in a second. They called him like Richard Allen Whitman or something, because he lives on Whitman Drive. So I think he wrote it like Richard Allen Whitman, and it looked like that or something. Okay. Did I read that Dan Doolin was the one that? Don't know what that means. And then it was, I want to see Dick Allen meet Old Smokey. He gets. Oh, by the way, look at my dog. Look at that. Oh, he was hugging Blue. Blue was sitting in here with me quite a bit today. I gave him some chicken sandwich. He liked that. He's kind of done with dog food at this point. I'm going to give Blue whatever the hell he wants to eat to get him something in his belly. I want to see Dick Allen meet old Smokey. Oh, he's not going to get the death penalty. There's no death penalty in this case for some reason. Annabella Roma, and then Sky.
For the pros to get hung up on the box cutter. Personally, I do, but I still think one weapon.
Let's see. Where are we at here? How come I don't see that one? Oh, down there. Okay. I guess that was the only question. So we had Sky, and then Alex. Hey, freaks. And then we have, do you think it was a mistake for the prosecution to get hung up on the box cutter? I don't know. It doesn't really bother me that much. Why does it affect anything? You know? Like, it's just like, hey, it could be a box cutter. And maybe they found a box cutter or something. I don't know. But I'll tell you what would be the smoking gun if it was never reported. Is if Richard Allen, during the search warrant at their house of Richard Allen, if they found the sock or the pair of underwear that have never been found at the crime scene. And we know that because, let me see if I can find that. It's the Ron Logan, right? Ron Logan. Yeah, there it is. Search warrant, Ron Logan. There we go. So here is, I think it's this one, right? On Monday, March 16th, I went to Ronald Logan's residence. I'm trying to find, hold on. This looks different than the one. Is this text? Okay, let me read scan it really quick for words. And that's not what I want to do. That's right here. Enhance scan, enhance, there we go. So it's going to go through and find searchable words. And let's see if we can find that one word. No, this is the police report. That's not even it. Hold on. It does say search warrant, though. And when was this? Oh, this is... Yeah, it's February 16, 2017. Told Kendall he woke up. Did this one get scanned in here? Is that... Alright, let me just type in Logan. I'm just trying to find... I have a search warrant, like a PDF file. And... Gone. Yeah, that's different. This is about like the police report about him getting fish and stuff. So I don't really know where that is right now, but it mentions the 43-second long video. It also mentioned that there was a pair of underwear and a sock that was missing from the crime scene. Oh wait, hold on, I gotta give you guys the membership gifting. Here we go. And there we go, right there. And if you're wondering, you're watching this channel and you're wondering, man, Gray, you're always trying to get the funds. I do. I try to raise the funds on the channel. You know, we're trying to support the channel. But the main thing, that I feel good about, I mean, it's great, trying to make a living in the true crime world. But we've also, this channel's given away $216,000 since January of 2020. And we have a DNA fund of over $95,000 in it. that we've identified Jane and John Does. We also have a scholarship fund. We've done $6,000 last year and $6,000 this year. We have 3 $2,000 scholarships this year to students in the criminal justice arena. We've also given Abbey and Libby Ballpark $1,500 this year, and we've given this year $37,000 already to various charities all over the place. And that's how you do it. You know, you got to try to make things happen. And if you're not making things happen, you're not able to do all those things. So that's how, sometimes I feel like there's a pressure to do it. Right, I mean, inflation has affected a lot of people, so that's some of the reason, where it drops off. But, we're still out there doing our thing. And I think it's pretty amazing. I mean, we're one of the few true crime channels that actually goes out and makes a difference. So there you go. That's it. Yeah, I don't know. All right, anyways, here's 925. Online court records show that Richard Allen's defense has filed a motion to admit evidence in court regarding Odinism and the theory the girls were murdered as a ritualistic killing. The defense first presented that it would just absolutely muddy the case up into oblivion doing that stuff. Because they're going to say, oh, look at one of these guys, he said this. But then you'd have to get the prosecution up there and showing all the information they have that cleared everybody. I mean, it would just drag on. The defense first presented evidence of Odinism in the Delphi murder case in 2023. The team filed a 136-page memorandum claiming that members of a pagan Norse religion called Odinism, hijacked by white nationalists, ritualistically sacrificed Abigail Williams and Liberty German. What a load of crap that document was. The Odinism theory was one of many the state pushed to bar from the jury, which rightfully so, because every single one of those people was not considered a suspect. During the trial, along with reference to Keegan Kline, geocaching, and other third-party suspects. Following the state's motion, the defense retaliated, fighting for those arguments to be allowed in court. The court struck down the Odinism theory in September, the order saying that evidence was must not be based on speculation, conjecture, rumors, or hearsay rather than admissible evidence. It was clear how the court would rule on the motion, or it wasn't clear how the court would rule on the motion, or if it would be discussed during Wednesday's session. I mean, tomorrow's going to be a big day right at the beginning. These days, today and yesterday were the biggest days, but I mean, every day's big, right? I mean, people finally got to see the video yesterday, and if you watch the video that I put out earlier today, you'd get a good sense of it. And, maybe I'll play a portion of that, because if I play it, I have it on the screen right here, but there's a segment here that's I'm not talking. And I know you guys like it when I shut the hell up, so maybe if we get to the from right here, okay? Do you guys want to see this? Because it's just music playing. I won't pause it or anything, but I might say something while it's playing. You guys want to see this or what? Yeah, see, KK always wants to be shut the hell up. Do you want to hear it? Okay, so this is it. This shows you the whole bridge and what it looked like. This video, the background video I'm using was filmed in March of 2017. A lady named Bonnie Rame, I had her go out there and I said, hey, can you reenact and try to do all the stuff that Libby was doing? And so she did it, and I had made a 3D animation of like 6 years ago. And so what I did this time was I edited in as she's walking and sort of spliced in the animations. So there isn't really a ton of animation, but it's interesting to watch. And if you watch this, you'll actually have a great understanding of the bridge. A huge part of the case, like right here, is where it all went down. So you can picture in your mind at this point, the bridge guy is behind the camera because I think he went back into the woods somewhere, And this is Libby's eyes right here, and Abby's right behind her. That's why there's nobody there. So here we go. Platform 1 on the right. That's 50 feet from the start of the bridge. You can see how scary it would be to cross this bridge. And I've already broke my oath of not talking. Yeah. 60 feet. Okay, here's platform 2. Coming up here will be the positioning of the first shot that Libby took on the bridge. The black and white image of the full length of the bridge. And you'll even see the vine. See the vine right there? Right there, the vine. See that? And here you'll see it in a minute. Oh, I guess you can't see it. Hold on. I'll go back a little bit. Okay, let's go back there, right there. Here we go. See, right there's a vine right there. Thank you, 6 Kids UK. Bends down. Takes the full shot of the bridge. The black and white shot. There's the vine right there. See that? Isn't that cool? That's exactly what it looked like to her. Looking back right there. And Abby's foot was right there. See? The damaged railroad tie. Her foot's right there on the next one. Still heading away. I didn't have the right turn on that, but heading to the southeast edge of the end of the bridge now. Look at the damages on those railroad ties. Very dangerous place. Nobody knows what you're talking about, Raina. I don't know. He has not. Final Shirt Guy doesn't have anything to do with the case, other than talking to Derek later. Cool, Leslie. Awesome. Me too. I started covering the case the night they went missing. Who? Who was a piece back then? Hey Raina, you're just kind of like word salad, blabbing along over and over again. Just let it rest now. We know what you think and everything. It's getting kind of old and boring at this point. You have no information that's interesting. You're just theorizing. Right, you're theorizing, but it's not interesting. There's nothing in there that makes us go, wow, that's clever, you know? Like, there's nothing in there. It's just you blabbing away about just some random theory. No, KK, it wouldn't. So here's the end of the bridge, and there's Abby kind of looking off, and here he comes. Alright, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you get a better sense. So it's crazy, right? I mean, when you watch that, it's just, you know exactly where everything was, and you'll have it down on that bridge. And by the way, like even Becky watched that and said, man, I tell everybody to watch that because that's very similar how the timing was and everything. So there you go. Alright? So you don't have to watch it or anything. But it'd be cool if you actually watch the full thing, because I actually discuss a whole bunch of different stuff, and I even go do things like this, the wide shot, talking about things, and it's only 20 minutes long. Jeez, KK, my God. Well, it's too much to say that's irrelevant, so it's like it's not. I don't want that kind of stuff, KK. I mean, you know how the show works, right? It's like just somebody blabbering away about absolutely nothing. All right. Okay, let's get back to this. So I think it was... no, we're going up. Now we're at the first witness. This is Sarah Carbaugh right here. The state's first witness Wednesday morning was 35-year-old Sarah Carbaugh, a lifelong Delphi resident who lived near the trail. So we've already gone over this. Maybe there'll be some new piece in here. She told the jury she visited the trail every day with her dogs. Carbaugh said she did not know the Libby German and Abby Williams. She did not know them, but learned they were missing through an Amber Alert sent out on February 13th, 2017. She didn't walk the trail that day, but drove by to see how busy it was. I mean, maybe she was going to walk the trail if it wasn't busy. While there, she said she saw a group of people. I think she said something about it. She has to be alone because they're dogs. She saw a group of people at the Mears entrance, including a girl wearing pink who appeared visibly stressed. So, I mean, that could be Kara, could be Kelsey. No. She also saw a man covered in mud and blood walking along 300 North. They just say county road. I'm not sure. A county road. That sounds ludicrous, you guys. I mean, Wish TV, a county road? That's so ambiguous. Like, oh, hey, everybody. She also saw some guy walking on a county road somewhere. No, it was 300 North, right next to that. She said she drove past the man, who did not acknowledge her, but says she later recognized him as Bridge Guy. She waited 3 weeks to report who she saw to police, saying she was afraid. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin began his cross-examination asking questions about discrepancies in her description of mud and blood and her June 2017 interview with police that had an hour of time missing. Or let's see, an hour is missing of it. Had an hour of it missing, it said. Hey, look at that. Bobby Swain gifted 5 memberships to Aunt B, Hetty Girl, E.S. Steph, and Allie Kohler. Welcome. She said she drove past a man who did not acknowledge her, but says she later recognized him as Bridge Guy. She waited 3 weeks to report who she saw. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin began his cross-examination, asking questions about, and so this is really not descriptive at all. Didn't say the 4 feet, maybe that was later, but she also saw a man covered in mud and blood walking along County Road. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin began his cross-examination, questions about discrepancies in her description of mud and blood and her June 2017 interview with police that had an hour of it missing. So they're just going to add that to the litany of other interviews that are missing and things like that. Carbaugh responded that the details were as simple as it is, and that outside of this testimony, I want nothing to do with this. Baldwin asked further questions about Bridge Guy's hair texture and eyes. You're romanticizing this, Carbaugh said. You said he had very effeminate eyes, Baldwin said. I did not say that, Carbaugh said. News 8's Kyla Russell reported that the jury appeared put off by Carbaugh's reactions. After her cross-examination, state prosecutor Stacey Diener asked about discrepancies in how Carbaugh described Bridge Guy's hood and hat. Carbaugh replied, "If it feels like a Tinder profile of hats with how many hats she's been shown." She continued by discussing her June 2017 interview and the portion that had been missing. She said that the part where she was asked to mark the Bridge Guy photo was a part of the missing interview block. Part where she was asked to mark the Bridge Guy photo was a part of the missing interview block. She mentioned, though, that the Bridge Guy's jacket was dark enough to where she would have seen blood on it, but his jeans were light enough to show the mud on them. Let me see. She mentioned, though, that the Bridge Guy's jacket was dark enough to where she wouldn't have seen blood on it. But I was trying to figure out what now it makes sense. But his jeans were light enough to show the mud on them. The jury finished by asking how close she was to the Bridge Guy when she saw him at the Mears entrance. So now it's the Mears entrance. To which she answered, the other one said it was over at the cemetery. He was within 3 feet of the passenger side. All right, then we're up here. This is Dr. Roland Kaur, a forensic pathologist based out of Terre Haute, was the state's 20th witness. I guess he apparently looks sort of like Colonel Sanders. Witness in the trial. Kaur is semi-retired and served as the Vigo County coroner for many years. He performed autopsies on Libby German and Abby Williams. Kaur explained to the jury the steps of an autopsy, which begins with being contacted by investigators and learning about the case, then later performing examinations of the bodies. The first autopsy was performed on Abby. Core noted Abby's clothing and physical injuries and performed a rape kit. He said that Abby had a 1-inch deep, 3-inch long incision. Alright, so 1 inch deep and then 3 inches long. I mean, this guy would tear, poke in and then pull it. This guy's a Jesus. And it's usually like he does it vertically too. It's not a sideways one. He does these vertical cuts. So like on the neck, the cuts go down like that, I saw like a diagram on Hidden True Crime. They had like these images. That like a sketch artist did. Does that mean that the first autopsy was performed? Let's see. I think I was already here. A 3-inch long incision wound on her neck. She also had a faint mark under her mouth, which Core said could be from duct tape or cloth. Abby showed no signs of blunt force trauma or restraint wounds. She said that though the assault kit showed no overt injury patterns, it does not mean that assault didn't occur. Libby German's autopsy was performed second. Core also noted her clothing, physical injuries, and performed a assault kit. The autopsy report said Libby had anywhere from 3 to 5 incision wounds on the right side of her neck, the largest being around 3.5 inches long. That's just ludicrous. She also showed no signs of overt sexual trauma or defensive wounds. Core estimated that the girls died approximately 41 hours before the autopsy. But wouldn't it have been nice if one of the reporters had thought to write down the actual time of the autopsy so that we could actually go backwards 41 hours? Yeah, wouldn't that be great? But not one of them put it in there. Defense attorney Brad Rosie began his cross-examination and discussed Core's deposition from February of 2024. Core's deposition included information about the attack and speculations on the girls' reactions after being attacked. He said in the February deposition that he couldn't determine if the killer was left or right-handed and that a serrated knife may have been used. Core then said after his deposition that a box cutter may have been used instead of a serrated knife, but did not inform the defense. News 8's Kyla Russell said Rosie showed upset in the courtroom after Core admitted his uncertainty about the weapon used and did not file a new report. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's all these little things, you just wonder what a jury makes of stuff. So anyways, the court takes a break for lunch. Court resumes for afternoon session. And I think that's up here. Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn. Where's Brown Eyed Girl? We haven't been able to play a song for her in a while. We got this one now.
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
Yeah. Alright, then up here it says the trial resumed at 2 p.m. and a break followed at 3:25 p.m. First Sergeant Christopher D. Cecil of Indiana State Police, who said he's been in law enforcement for 20 years, took the stand. He has a college degree in digital forensics and in 2019 became computer forensic examiner for the state police. He joined the Delphi murder investigation and volunteered to examine Libby's phone. Cecil analyzed the iPhone and the SIM card inside first in 2019 using a gray key device from state police. The device is capable of unlocking iPhones and other similar devices, unlike previous software was able to do. In this analysis, Cecil produced a full data extraction of the phone's content and reviewed that by putting it into a program called Celebrite. We've all heard of that. This review lasted between late July 2019 and late August 2019. His goal was to extract data and create a timeline of events of the phone's use starting on February 13th, 2017. I think you'd want to go before that, because you guys thought he was on a mission. Wouldn't you want to know more? The day that police believe Abby and Libby were murdered. And that's her phone, but I mean, I think you'd want to know more like before too, right? Cecil compiled a report in 2019 on what he found on Libby's phone. 2 people were using the phone. And that was Libby and Abby. Abby actually had her thumbprint as a user on Libby's phone, so they were sort of circumventing her mom's rules. Many apps had logons for Abby and Libby. There were several fingerprints saved to the phone, including Abby's. The health app on the phone was working in the background and recorded steps taken, changes in elevation, and the distances traveled. Cecil outlined that information for the jurors. The phone also made two calls, was plugged into a power source, and posted photos to Snapchat on February 13, 2017. The phone also recorded the bridge video, which jurors watched Tuesday. This year, Cecil compiled a second report, including more extensive information from the iPhone using program new to state police called Knowledge C. The software was able to provide a more detailed view of the day's timeline. Analysis for the report happened between May 10th, August 18th of this year. So maybe we can do stuff on the map here. Let's see if there's any. At 1:41 p.m. on February 13, 2017, a picture was posted from the phone to Libby's Snapchat account. So 141, I think that's the one where they're in the car and it's a picture of like Abby's in the back seat and Libby's in the front seat. Then at 1:43 p.m. that same day, another picture was posted. Could be that one too then, I guess. Then at 2:05 p.m., okay, this is the one. 2:05, I think I've already got this. This is in another document that we saw before. Excuse me. Yeah, this shot right there. See, I've already got 2:05 on that. At 2:05 p.m., February 13th, a picture of the Monon High Bridge was posted. Okay, yep, that's the long shot, the black and white one that we just watched a minute ago. The phone last unlocked at 2:07 p.m., February 13th, although someone failed to unlock it with a fingerprint about 7 minutes later. Well, that's interesting. Okay, because 2:07 is approximately the time of the image. So let's see, the phone last unlocked at 2:07 p.m. On February, so that's the same time as the image of Abby on it. So the phone last unlocked, so about that time she probably unlocked it, took that picture, and then it says, although someone failed to unlock it with a fingerprint about 7 minutes later. And interesting about that is that's the time of the Bridge Guy video. And that Bridge Guy video is, they write down that it was at 2:13, but we just heard the other day that it was 2:13 and 51 seconds was when it started. So it's more like 2:14. At 2:13 p.m., the Bridge Guy video's recorded. At 2:14 p.m., someone attempts to unlock the phone but fails. I bet you that's her while it's in her pocket, and she tries to unlock it, and she knows it turned off. The last recorded movement of the phone was 2:32. So interestingly, the last movement of the phone, based on its own internal mechanism, it was over here. And this is where the crime scene is, right? And the phone was found underneath Abby. And it doesn't mean, so the phone likely, you know, I mean, it's hard to imagine them already being like on the ground dead in that short of amount of time, because that's only 18 minutes, and you know, there's time for the undressing and all that stuff. But the phone doesn't move, so maybe the phone's just on the ground there. Some people, you know, sort of suggested that Libby put her phone in her shoe when she was made to undress, and that's why it came out from underneath it. I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, so that's at so 2:14. Someone attempts to unlock it, and that's going to be her, because she like put it in her pocket. Remember how it stopped recording, and she probably realized it stopped recording, and then wanted to keep recording, but couldn't get it activated again, because maybe it was in her pocket or something in the dark. Then it says the last recorded movement was 2:32. The last signal from the phone was about 10:32 p.m. on February 13th. Cecil reported he thought that the phone had died. He found no indication the phone was turned off from 2:13 p.m. and to 4:33 a.m. The phone received calls and texts late into the day on February 13th. At 4:06 p.m. on February 13th, Libby's grandmother texted, "You need to call me now." So 4:06 is 9 minutes after Sarah Carbaugh saw the bridge guy walking on 300. And likely, guess what that is, you guys? Man, this all makes sense. So remember when Sarah Carbaugh drives by right here, and she sees a group of people standing here, and the lady in pink with blonde hair, one of those people, I bet you, and that's Becky, that's the grandmother, she texted while standing here, and it said, Libby's grandmother texted you, you need to call me now, right? So she's one of the people that Sarah Carbaugh drove by. How much you want to bet? The phone stopped receiving notifications late February 13th until 4:33 a.m. on February 14th, when about 20 text messages notifications came in. So I think what's happening here is that, you know, sometimes, you know, depending on the atmosphere, the location of the you know, I mean, really, I don't really know, like the weather and atmosphere can affect how a cell phone transmits. And just for a moment there, because it was still underneath Abby's body, it received a text message. You know, a whole bunch of them that just came pouring in. The defense team wants to make that into something like it. The phone came back from somewhere, and it just doesn't make any sense, you know. When asked why the phone did not receive messages between them, Cecil said he did not know. Yeah, and there's probably no answer to that question, a definitive answer. It's just a guess, you know. And when you look at it, the way this works, there's a cell tower right here. See it? You can see the shadow of it right there. And that's why I'm saying, if on this channel you get to sort of see the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? So there's a cell tower right there. Here's the cemetery. The crime scene is right there. The thing is it's way down a hill like that, and that hill would really hamper the signal to that cell phone. And then it's underneath the body of Abby. So it could just be that the signal came in at a, you know, it just made it through at a certain time based on the weather, you know, if it's, I don't know if it's foggy or whatever the hell it is that could help a transmission come in. They want it to make it sound like it's a big deal. When asked why the phone did not receive messages between them, Cecil said he did not know. The phone did not have any more activity tracked until it was plugged in the next day by ISP investigator Brian Bunner. Earlier on His testimony focused on the GPS capabilities of the iPhone. He outlined that several apps, including the App Store, Camera, Maps, Photos, and Snapchat, were limited to providing a location only when in use. The only app with locations always on was Weather. Local services for the Walmart app were set to never. Cecil explained how the GPS begins tracking a general area and then quickly narrows it down. Cecil told the jury the Bridge Guy video metadata first shows the video as having been taken near Delphi High School, but within a few seconds it quickly shows the location as near the Monon High Bridge. There you go. Alright, and then at 3:36 there's another one. Second afternoon session begins. More forensics from Libby's phone. First Sergeant Christopher D. Cecil of Indiana State Police answers additional questions from the prosecution about the specific times on February 13th that the photos from Abby and Libby were taken on Libby's iPhone and then posted on Snapchat. And by the way, if I didn't say it earlier, one of the things at the crime scene with Abby's body is that there was like debris on her back. Even though when they found her, she had her pink shirt on, the sweatshirt. So that sort of indicates at one point that either the pink shirt was moved all the way up or she was completely nude, just like Libby, but was allowed to dress at a later time. All right, just throwing that back in there. I just remembered I think I said that earlier, but then I didn't say it in the second time around. Alright, First Sergeant Christopher D. Cecil, and then it says, Cecil is the commander of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. During cross-examination, defense attorney Jennifer Auger asked about Cecil noting earlier in the afternoon that the phone sent 15 texts all at once to Libby's phone. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, somebody else sent texts and her phone received the 15 texts. I mean, it doesn't say it right here. If you look here, it says Cecil noting earlier in the afternoon that the phone sent 15 texts all at once to Libby's phone. You mean, that doesn't make any sense. Libby's phone received 15 texts all at once. He reiterated that he didn't know why that happened, but noted that if a phone doesn't have service, texts, once service is restored, will all have the same timestamp. Cecil also noted during cross-examination and the prosecutor's redirect that he looked at 23 devices of suspect Richard Allen. Access to those devices was provided November 8, 2022. Cecil said he found, a little bit after he was arrested, he found nothing to tie Allen to Abby and Libby other than his searches for information about the missing girls. So he did have searches, huh? Said he found nothing to tie Allen to Abby and Libby other than his searches for information about the missing girls. Well, that's sort of interesting. He's like checking in. I mean, a lot of people looked it up, but when you consider, he's admitted to being Bridge Guy, then, The prosecution pointed out that Allen had a different phone in 2017 not included in the seize. So when they went to the house to collect the items, the phone that he used in 2017 was no longer in existence. Boy, what a shock. The jury asked questions of Cecil as well. One juror asked Cecil if Cecil had checked to see if AT&T had issues with cell towers on February 13th or 14th. Cecil said he didn't check. I mean, but that's not something you would just think of check. It's not something you would check. See, when people ask questions and you answer no, it's almost like these sometimes jurors and just even people in general, they want to ask you a question to seem like they're really sleuthy and really thinking through something. And it turns into like a gotcha thing that doesn't really even exist. Like, hey, did you think of calling AT&T and seeing if there was any issues with the tower that day? And, Jurors also asked several questions. They want people to think that they're, on it, like they should have been somebody else. Jurors also asked several questions, including ones about how Snapchat works and what it records and saves. And I think that's it. And of course, they don't tell us what the answer was because they needed to get going. But I think that's going to do it, you guys. That's a 3-hour show. Pretty much died down in the chat there. Hit that like button. We only have 396 likes. It's always just a joke how people show up and they never just hit the like button. It's pretty bizarre. So what we need you to do at this point is hit the like button, hit the like button, 10, 20, 25, 30, hit that like button, 40, 45, 50, hit that like button, 50, 55, 60, hit the like button. 30 and 30 and 30, 25, simplest thing in the damn world. 25 of them, you're out. 25, 30, 30, now 5, I'm 35. It's okay, Jim Long. Yeah. Some nights just aren't as good as others, but I try to make it happen. Anyways, what do you guys think? We got some good information out there. Like, if you're on this channel, hopefully you just sort of realize, like, it's just right here. Everything's right there. That's all that matters. Everything's right here. Richard Allen himself actually only lives right there. So, it's just right there. The abandoned CPS building is right there. Okay? The old State Road 25 is right here. The new Highway 25 is right there. The Freedom Bridge is right here. This is the little circle thing that you come off of. The path from the abandoned CPS building is right there. Maybe I'll do a video on this. Don't you think that would be worth it? I mean, I think people, you need something like that out there because there isn't something. Here's the Hoosier Harvest Store. This is the Mears property that's mentioned. This is the parking spot across from the Mears property. That's where the cars park. Abby and Libby came out. This is the trail. There's also this other trail here that goes down to the river, and that's where Derek went after talking to the flannel shirt guy. Then the bridge is here. This is the crime scene. That's the end of the bridge. And then each of the locations. I think that's one I'll do tomorrow. I think that'll be worth doing. I think and then I'll just call him the bridge guy. He spotted right here, muddy and bloody, going this direction after Betsy Blair drove by that way. So that's what I'm going to do. Do you think that would be valuable to people, you guys? Oh, I just got a message from Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick. Yeah, cool. Yeah, she's going to check in next couple days. Hey, thanks, M10. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry for some of the notes and some of the earlier ones, but
I love this.
I think we got
Explained beautifully. Thank you, Gray. Sorry for the box cutter thing that derailed Urchat lol.
Oh, I don't remember that. I think when we went over it so many different times and various notes and things, I think we have a good feeling of what happened today. It was basically the Sarah Carbaugh, then the crime scene where Libby had 3 to 5 cuts in her neck vertically. They were like 3.5 inch, really long cuts. And the killer put the knife in there twice, like multiple times, trying to it's just sick, really. And then Abby had one scar. Abby had some dirt on her back. They both had blood on their hands. So we got that part. And Libby was wearing nothing. She was completely nude. Abby had on, so in the creek were, this is from yesterday, but it ties into this. In the creek are, let's see, Libby's sort of black undershirt she had, maybe her underwear, and she's completely nude. Then Abby's gray sweatshirt that she has on the bridge image that she's in, that's in the water. Her and her tight jeans, her little skinny jeans are in the water. And then also Libby's tie-dye shirt's in the water. So I think that might be what the shirt that's in the water is, her tie-dye shirt. And then also in the water is one of Libby's black Nike sneakers. And it turns out the other Nike sneaker is underneath Abby, which is underneath. So it's like, I think the shoe, and then underneath the shoe, the phone is underneath Abby. So, but Abby had on Libby's pants, and I don't think she had any underwear on. So I think it was all Abby had on was her pink shirt, Libby's sweatshirt that's actually Kelsey's sweatshirt, and then she also had on Libby's jeans, and she had on her 2 Chuck Taylor like Converse shoes. And there's various theories you can come up with how, like, why is this happening. I think Abby was alive longer, she was killed last. I think he was actually contemplating letting her live, and that's why he allowed her to get dressed. But then he goes, I can't do it, and he just killed her with sort of one, and he hit the artery on that, and he probably waited around as she died, and then he started trying to cover them, and then something interrupted him because he was kind of late. Around 3:40, man, there was all kinds of people walking around on the bridge, making noises. People, things are happening. So he probably got the hell out of there before he finished. All right. Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn, for the spirit box.
2 for the spirit box, yeah.
Oh, you want to hear the spirit box? Yeah. So there's channels out there that talk about this, Well, they might ask a question to a spirit box and say, hey, so where was Richard Allen that day? At a hut, everybody. He was at a hut. Boop, boop. Gilligan, little buddy. Skipper. Man. Batshit. So I read the said batshit. I agree with that. Hey, it's Billy. Says, I'm a little late to the show, but wanted to show support. Keep up the strong work, bro. All right. Well, thank you for that. Very nice, very kind. Well, we are not going to be covering anything else until this trial's over. Okay, that's just the way it is. There might. I guess if there was breaking news on, the Koberger case or like the Madeline Soto one, we'd have to jump in and say something. But that's all we're going to be covering. Okay. Too many years. And it's really interesting. Every day there's interesting stuff to go over. Every day. It's just, can we get some good pool notes? Reporters, give a damn. Take the time to do it right and provide a clear, crisp image. You don't need to have shadows on the image you give us where we have to kind of try to figure out. It's insane. Thank you. All right, anyways. That is going to do it, you guys, and thank you to all the people who supported the channel. Kind of started off slow, but made a good night of it at the end there. Little Puppy Paws, we had 8675309, who, by the way, attempted a wave and nobody jumped in. It was crazy. Then Primal Curiosities, Amber Maiden, We Say Howdy Here, and then Primal Curiosities gifted a membership. Then Michelle H., then Georgina Stoliker, This Account, Amber Maiden, Rachel B., Janet Drums, then Kathy Friedenmaker, then Tighten Up, Primal Curiosities, This Account, A.J. Felt 1973, Sammy Day, Allie Cake, Lisa Valenzuela, Leslie Thomas, and then Dennis Boyd. Leslie Thomas became a new member. Then Dennis Boyd, then Nina Armstrong, Lil Puppy Paws, Paulette Leonard, Poppy, Tania Animas, Annabella Roma, Lynn Lewin, Nina Armstrong, Michelle H., Isabel Wheaton. And then it was Mark Ferris, a new member. Then Sammy Day gifted a membership. Thank you so much. And then Case Cracked, Allie Keg. Case Cracked was on one tonight, huh? I'll tell you that. And then Alley Cake, Lil Puppy Paws 99, this account, Poppy, Lynn Lewin again. Then Wendy Van Rokel, Marva, Primal Curiosities, Nina Armstrong. Then Sky became a new member. Then Stephen Bug Killer, Snickers Bar from Chewbacca, Mrs. Ryan, Coffee Bean Queen. Then Primal Curiosities, Lynn GMB. What's the difference between ritual and murder? It's still a murder, right? David. I mean, ritualistic just means it had some kind of religious value to somebody. And then Sky, also from Australia, looks like. Then Annabella Roma, Cindy J. And then it's Nina Armstrong, Annabella Roma, Sky, Alex M10. Then I gifted 5 memberships. Then 6 Kids UK. Man, Bobby Swain gifted 5. Then Jim Lon M10. Jim Lon. Then Billy. That was a long list. It was cool to see that many people. A lot of repeats in there. So thank you for those who continually support the channel. If you're wondering what's going on here, yes, my channel does make an income too. However, we have this one. That's not the one. So, in 2020, this channel donated $22,000. We thought, wow, that was great. And it's all during the pandemic. Then 2021, $42,500, which was just like, that's insane, right? Then it was like a year of just crazy, huge cases. And we did $62,250. And then, 2023, last year, $57,000. And this year we're at 37, so we're not going to get there, but we're not going to get to, but it'll be 40 something, I think, which is pretty sweet, right? So I mean, no matter what, we're making a difference here. So even if you have if we're just reporting on cases, at least we're doing something on the side. I got allergies kicking in now. It's crazy. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. Do you guys want to watch that drone footage thing again? I could play that. I mean, just for it's kind of a nice relaxing thing to watch at the end of that same video. You don't have to watch it either. You can just take off. But it's like a 20-minute video. I don't think I'm coming back later. Yeah, let's do it. It's kind of fun. It's like the fly.
Are you getting caught short in the rain? With the bearskin waterproof soft shell jacket, you won't even need an umbrella.
I think there might be ads in it, though. How is that for peaceful? That's me with my drone, with the VR goggles. It's awesome. sounds like heaven too when you're flying. You're just sitting in a chair and you're off on a whole nother planet somewhere. I did. I shot it with my VR goggles and a controller, and it's amazing.
you.